another planet? Is Janet from 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 another planet?
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me again for the Friday Night Shit Show. And it seems that we got a lot of shit going down right now. If you're been on lots of those apps that you have on your phone, like Instagram and TikTok and X and Rumble, I think Facebook, maybe. I'm not on Facebook, so wouldn't know. But a lot of stuff going down since they're doing all this stuff, talking to the Clintons. More and more stuff's coming out. More and more people are actually reading the Epstein files, uploading them, reading them, and sharing. And that's what I thought was so funny about the whole thing. As I played a couple of videos, different people talking about how everybody was pointing the finger at Trump. He didn't want to release them and stuff, even though, stuff's been going on some way back when Obama was in office and nobody was whining and complaining and asking for the Epstein files. It wasn't until somebody got Trump to say, it's not a big deal and all this kind of stuff, pissed people off enough to where they started demanding that they release it. And now that they're releasing it, all their people are going, oh no, I'm liking a lot of it. I've been just, watching as many videos as I can, reading as much as I can. I'm not wanting to really open a lot of the stuff that's on there yet until I can talk to a few of my computer friends and see whether or not, it might hurt my computer or whatever, by putting stuff like that on there or watching it on my computer, even though it's on a government website. See, I don't know. I kind of want to watch some of it. I believe it already. I don't really have to see it. I can just read most of the files and get my disgusting stomach upset, just from reading, because I believe all this crap. Okay. I just want to see somebody finally be forced to have to tell the truth. And I knew Hillary wasn't going to tell the truth. She never tells the truth. She doesn't know what the truth is, at least on my point of view of her. And I think it's going to start more and more stuff's going to come out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting this next couple of months, watching people squirming. You know what I mean? That is, if they think something's going to happen. See, if these people don't think that anything's going to happen, then they're not going to give a crap. I mean, Hillary Clinton got away with bleach bitten all of her phones and using hammers on them and not turning anything over, and then having a illegal server in her bathroom when she was Secretary of State. Nothing happened to her. I mean, it's just pathetic the way things were done and handled. I just want to see somebody get something. I want to see somebody in handcuffs. That's what we want to see, and we deserve it. But I was going to start off with this, but I already played a disclaimer just a minute ago, so I don't see any reason why I have to play another one. So I'm going to go ahead and close that off real quick, and then I'll open up this other thing. Let's see. I always get messed up. That's why you have to be a big channel before you start knowing what you're freaking doing. Okay. Yeah, I think it's this one. It says that one. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to play this first because it's something funny, and it's all about Hillary Clinton. And this was like from 30 years ago. Juanita Broderick posted it on her timeline, and I just think it's great. So here we go. Make sure it's turned up.
Is the First Lady a compulsive liar, though? It's beginning to look that way. In an interview on last night's 2020, intended to promote her new book, It Takes a Village, Mrs. Clinton folded under tough questioning by Barbara Walters and admitted that, in fact, it does not take a village. And furthermore, that she was aware that it does not take a village when she wrote the damn book. Meanwhile, President Clinton is hard at work on Tuesday's State of the Union address, in which he'll focus on crime, education, and the economy. At the request of the First Lady, part of the president's speech will be huge lies. More questions about Hillary Rodham Clinton's truthfulness. In an interview this week, the First Lady claimed that she won the women's 100-meter dash at the 1956 Olympics, and that she had an IQ of, quote, over 700. When it was pointed out to her that these were not especially good lies, Mrs. Clinton responded, "I know, I have a problem," and then added, "I invented the formula for 7-Up." In Whitewater news, federal regulators quizzed Hillary Clinton at the White House this week and gave her a perfect score on the lying section. She's a dirty liar. For years, Hillary Rodham Clinton has told people that she was named for the first man to climb Mount Everest, Sir Edmund Hillary. But as Esquire magazine recently pointed out, Sir Edmund did not climb Mount Everest until 1953, 6 years after Hillary was born. However, the First Lady does have a good explanation for the discrepancy. She loves to lie. A former Arkansas banker told the Senate Whitewater Committee this week that he gave Bill Clinton a $20,000 loan as a favor, even though it was, quote, unacceptable banking practice. In response, President Clinton stated that he has no recollection of such a loan, while First Lady Hillary Clinton said, "We've never even been to Arkansas."
I'm sorry, it's so funny because I remember my parents talking about all the Whitewater bullshit, and she swore, swore under oath that she never saw the documents and all this shit. And as soon as she's in the White House, they find her fingerprints on these documents for the Whitewater case. It's like, see, it's just like nothing sticks. I mean, she's able to, I don't know. It's like, she's like, everything bounces off. because she has enough dirt on enough people that people are afraid to prosecute. But if people do prosecute that they don't have dirt on, then maybe something will get done. We'll see. But just like what she said to Podesta when she lost, that some people's heads are going to roll. If I go down, someone's going down with me. So I can't wait to see. But the thing is, I can see why they would want her as one of the first people to get information from, because as soon as other people start to speak, she might be ready to squeal on other people because she don't want to go down. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But as more and more stuff comes out, we'll see what happens. But I just think that this whole this whole thing is just hilarious. I mean, just nice to see uh, something going on, even if we don't, we're not seeing actually anybody being arrested yet. I know that something's coming because some of this stuff's pretty good. What I don't understand is if they're gonna release videos from the testimony, right, on Monday, that's what I heard. Why can't they just do it live? I don't understand why they can't set it up like they did court TV years ago and just let them. I mean, these people that are interviewing them are from our states, supposedly representing us. So why wouldn't we be able to watch it? I don't know. I just don't understand what. It's not like they're showing stag films or anything. They're just up there asking questions, and I feel like we have the right to know. I mean, what's being said. So that's one of the things that I think is really interesting. The fact that um, we don't get to see any of it. But I thought this was funny because James Woods posted it, and it's he's talking about it's pizzas being delivered where the Clinton is testifying today. He said 3D chess in play. Maybe, I don't know, but I just thought that was funny because that's a lot of pizzas. And I wonder who had them delivered. I don't know, but for their, courthouse to get all those pizzas. I thought that was interesting. Sorry. My throat is so scratchy. My body already thinks it's springtime. I didn't even have winter. I barely had a month where it was, cold. And I'm cold right now, but I got a little bit of a sunburn when I went and to the gym today. So, oh well, that's what happens when you sunburn at the gym. But I just thought that was funny. He's teasing about what's going on because a lot of people are enjoying seeing the squirming that's going on with some of these people. Yet, I think we're going to get to see a lot more squirming coming up very soon. But this is the other thing I thought. I'm trying to play them in order as they came out, as they were being released during the day. Tim Burchett, I really like him. I've played lots of his videos, and he is saying they sell kids to get, raped, basically. You don't want to hang these people, and he's really upset about it. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and let you hear it right from him, since it's him doing the talking. So here you go. I'm going to let you listen to what he had to say because to me, this person has a heart, and he just wants the shit to come out, and the people held responsible go to prison.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. I woke up this morning thinking about some stuff, and it sort of kind of makes me angry. I hear people saying, "No, they're trafficking." Well, we got to get that straight. They're pimps, and when they say trafficking young kids for across state lines for sex with adults, no, they're not. They're selling these kids to get raped. I think we try to sanitize stuff. In Hollywood, shows the pimp and dressed in the fine clothes and the nice car and talking tough and all that, and that's all these people are. They're awful, awful, demonic people. and they deserve to burn in hell. And people say, oh, Burchett, you don't want to hang those people. The hell I don't. Bring them out to the farm. We'll take care of them. And I am not kidding you. We've got to start taking this stuff serious in this country, folks. And, you know, the way the left and I guess we all are guilty of it. We try to sanitize it so it doesn't affect our psyche or our conscience. But this stuff's going on right now. It's going on in your community. It's going on in my community. We need to pay attention, and we need to start enforcing our dadgum laws and quit electing these gutless wimps and putting these judges in that let these people walk, and quit with all the being able to get out of these things, and they get probation and all this other stuff. All they're going to do is offend again. And the people that are buying these kids to rape are just as guilty or worse than the others. End them all. That's what we've got to do. There's nothing redeemable about these people. Anyway, folks, pray for our country. Pray for all those little kids out there that are lost in this horrible system. We lost over 300,000 during the Biden administration. Thank God for President Trump and Homan. They found, I think, 145,000 of them so far. And that's not in the press. Should be. Shame on the media. Anyway, pray for our country. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Well, what I liked about this whole thing is that we're constantly listening to the news, wondering if any of what they say is true. This person is saying this even though they know they're getting hate because of it. And just like me, I get death threats. I've gotten tons of hate. I've had my shows taken down, videos taken down, because I say stuff like what he just said, because I'm a big defender of kids. I remember one of the very first big shows that I was really nervous about doing with Bruce, but we did it on Rumble because I was talking about the Eyes of the Devil documentary about the 4 brothels that have children in them, 10 and under. People want to buy kids that are 10 and under. And this was years ago when I first started doing stuff with Bruce. And I cried. I mean, it took me days to watch that documentary, and it was all blurred out, you know, just knowing what was going on and listening to the kids and different things. It's heartbreaking, but we are doing nothing to stop it. I mean, little people like me, all I can do is voice my opinion. I can't arrest people. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. I do, you know, I have worked the polls, and I've been in jury pools, you know, trying to get on jury duty because I would actually go because I want to see justice happen for people. But it just seems it's so sad that around the world, we have so many people that just turn and look the other way because they don't want to deal with this shit that we're going through, and it's unfolding. People are still fighting it, saying, oh, he's only releasing some of it. He's only doing this. He's only doing that. Just be glad something started. These people are starting to see what is going on and what has been going on. And other people have tried to tell people, and nobody wants to know about it. I remember one morning, it's like 2 years ago, I was talking about the Eyes of the Devil documentary and some other stuff, you know, things that are going on, because I have a lot of friends that are involved in saving kids and people that are being draped, if you want to say that word, and trafficked, things like that. It's horrible stuff. And people being abused in their own homes by their aunts, uncles, bus drivers. You know, it doesn't have to be somebody from another country. They're right in our neighborhoods. All you got to do is get online and look for us registered sex offenders. And that's just the ones they know of that are registered, if it's even their address. It's disgusting the way this has been done, because once you do anything like that to a kid, they're not a kid. They're no longer the innocent child they were before you did something to them. And now we run the risk of them doing it to other kids. Do you know a lot of the kids that go through this end up becoming recruiters to recruit more kids because they're messed up. This kid is not normal anymore, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. Once you do this kind of stuff to them, their minds aren't ready for what's being forced upon them. And when I heard little kids in that documentary begging to die, please kill me at 6 years old. Please, I want to die. I don't want to live anymore. If that doesn't rip your heart out and want to see these people, it's like what he just said. That's why he's saying this. He's seen some of this stuff. He's seen what some of these people that he probably has worked with in some form with the government. Maybe they're not in the government, but maybe they're in a big corporation, or they're big lawyers or something, bankers, or who knows what. But I could tell he's seen some of this, because I'm telling you, once I started seeing it and my eyes were open, you can't go back in the matrix and plug yourself in and go, back in La La Land, forget about everything. It doesn't happen. Once you open your eyes and you start to actually see this stuff, you can't unsee it. And you want people to be held accountable. Just like you said, bring them out to the farm. We'll take care of them. Okay? Because he understands that you can't help these people. Once a grown person rapes a small child or anyone, how do you ever rehabilitate that? I mean, actually, do you think they're ever going to be fit to be in public or with another kid? I don't. That's my personal opinion, but I tell you right now, years ago, they put these people in prison and they put them in mental institutions, things like that. But instead of doing that, we slowly just opened the doors, and now they're all over the streets. They just live in the streets and do whatever they want, because it's easier to control people when you keep them drugged up, and you have to have more regulations or whatever else, and they're making more money off of it. And then you got more kids in the system because they're all messed up. It's disgusting. It's all disgusting. And until we get off our ass and we start doing something, I don't see how we're ever going to fix it. But this is a person right here that you're looking at on the screen that's trying to do something. And there's more people like him, believe it or not, in the government that actually give a shit. He's saying this, and it's barely being seen by anyone because nobody wants to share it. Nobody wants to know that anybody else is doing anything because they don't want to be a part of it. I'm just praying about it. I'm just not going to worry. It's in God's hands. Yeah. Guess what? We are living on this planet and it's in man's laws down here. You're not in heaven yet. And you probably won't get to heaven if you just turn and look the other way when this kind of stuff's going on. In my opinion. Let's put it that way. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help it. I just get so riled up. And that's one reason why this is my social life. This is my therapy. I do this. And I feel like I talk about a lot of things that other people don't want to hear, which is fine. I mean, if you don't want to watch it, just go watch the next podcast or whatever. Go watch anime or, twiddle your thumbs. I don't care. I care about this. This kind of stuff is important to me, that people get the truth. And you realize that the only way we're going to fix this is through laws, which means we have to arrest these people and put them in prison where they belong. And we'll see what happens to them while they're in prison. When hopefully the rest of them find out what kind of person they really are and why they're in there. So I don't know. Or they'll get sent to a special prison. They got lots of them. And I think it's in Colorado and Arizona where they have special prisons just for pedophiles and rapists. Did you guys know that? That one guy that killed his wife and his 2 kids, and he's pushed their little bodies into a 8-inch round circle of hole and stomped on their little heads and got them down in that thing down there. He's in a special prison, so he can't get killed by other people because he's in there with a bunch of people just like him that killed their whole family or whatever, because he wanted some other woman, but he didn't want it to pay, to pay his ex because she was about to give birth to her 3rd baby. So it's disgusting. that these cowards get to go to these prisons and be coddled, and we're paying for it. Well, maybe not me or anyone from another state, but the people in that state are paying for it. And it's I bet they don't even realize half the things that you pay for, because people don't want to know about the bad stuff. What's down the street or who lives down the street and what they're doing. Nobody wants to know unless it happens to them. And then the outrage comes. Oh, nobody's helping me. Oh, when you could have been doing something before, maybe that person would have already been in prison and he wouldn't have came to your house. But, that's just the way it is. People do not want to think about it. But this gentleman is, and I'd support Tim. I think he's doing a great job. He's doing the best he can with what tools he has, and he's surrounded by pigs, basically. Oh, we don't need to do that. You don't mean what you're saying. Why not? Did they not watch the same things or know the same things that he's seeing? I'm sure they do, but how can they just say, oh, well, it's not my problem. It's not our job to do that. Why are they there then? Why do we vote for them if they're not going to do shit when they're there? And the ones who don't do anything need to get the hell out and let someone go in there that will do something. That's how I see it. And hopefully, if you guys are paying attention to what's going on in your state, and your people in your state don't give a shit and don't want to do any of this stuff, they're just kicking the can down the road again, just like last year and the year before that and 20 years before that. Well, then guess what? Kick their ass out. Vote someone in that will do something, like Tim and a few others that I've really liked. But the thing is, it's up to us. It's in our laps now, people. And you can either just sit and twiddle your thumbs and go do some other stuff, or you can actually try to share information and get other people to go vote, go protest, whatever it is that you think you can do, you should be doing it instead of just doing nothing. I don't know. I can't help it. I just am heartbroken over all this stuff. It's sad, but I'm thankful that I'm starting to see little tiny things coming out every day. So that is a step in the right direction. But this next thing I want to share is I'm just sharing part of it because I've shared this part of this video before, but the second half of what he's saying, I think, is pertinent to what I'm talking about tonight. So I'm going to share, I think it's this one. Oh, so bad at this. Let's see. I think it's this one. Oh, that's not it. Hold on, give me a second. I got to click on all of these and find out which one it is, because I'm trying to play them in order of how I got them, but I don't know how I'm just not very good at getting them in order. I just can't seem to do it right. And I don't have anybody sitting over my shoulder to help me get it. So this is how it ends up. Okay, I think this is it. Wall Street Apes is the one that posted it on this timeline on X. And I thought, I've already fast forwarded so that we could see the part that I want. It's what he's saying that is pertinent to what's going on. And I think it's important. So here we go. Make sure it's turned up.
Heels of releasing the story, I wanted to emphasize just how touching it was for me to see Erica Kirk stand on stage in front of those 74,000 people in a stadium and say that she forgives the assassin who killed her husband, Charlie Kirk. I actually took this photo standing right in front of her when she did that, and I wept. The people standing next to me also wept. In the couple days that followed since that Sunday, it dawned upon me that equally as important as forgiving those who trespass against us is for those of us, the living, to achieve justice and accountability for the bad actors behind the scenes corrupting this country. We must have a Department of Justice that is actually about justice. If we do not have any accountability for bad actors, good people, even God-fearing people, are going to resort not to forgiveness, but vengeance. We cannot allow that to happen. And the only solution is exposure, journalism, sunlight as the best disinfectant. When the leadership in our government is not forthcoming and transparent about matters they should be, you will see men on the front lines, men on the inside, like this Glenn Prager guy, who are familiar with the files, familiar with Epstein, familiar with who's on the airplanes. Indeed, he's the guy who actually interviewed all the victims in Palm Beach. Well, you'll see people like this be forthcoming and honest when their leadership isn't. I recognize Prager's life is now changed forever. You might be tempted to focus on that and focus on him personally. We have no doubt that no matter how much proof is provided by me, the powers that be will deny, deflect, personalize, and cover all of this up. You may wonder how it is these guys in our government so brazenly open up to total strangers in airports about national security secrets. Please note, this isn't about him or Glenn Prager. It's about opening the floodgates of honesty from other men who are just like Glenn Prager, but who never wanted to be involved. We're just following orders. Prager lived with these secrets, and the horror of what he knows lives on his conscience, the weight on his shoulders. He lives with the guilt for knowing the truth. That is why he was so forthcoming in public in the airport. That is why others with national security secrets will continue to be so forthcoming to our army of citizen exposers. And there are many more out there like Glenn Prager. And now, right now, you who are watching must come forward and tell the truth and be transparent. Be a hero and do the right thing. In the last few weeks, I've reached out to top officials of the Department of Justice repeatedly ahead of these reports. Our attorneys even sent a letter to the FBI Director Kash Patel. There seems to be more of an interest, generally speaking, in covering their ass instead of telling the truth. While we expect that of the previous administrations, we expect better of the Trump administration and those who campaigned on the promise of transparency. Now, I was advised that reaching out far ahead of time would lead to this story being suppressed, something that my team, and I dare say all of the people who actually voted for this administration, can't comprehend. But these reports are going to continue coming out, and they will not be partisan or political. They're going to cut across the political divide, because this is not a political mission, and I am not a political person. It is my mission to clean up society through transparency, accountability, and the truth. I wrote last week, the legacy of Charlie Kirk is to do the right thing for the right reasons. And reflecting on his legacy, I saw a remarkable change within him in the last couple years, but especially the last couple months of observing him from afar and also knowing him personally. I reached out to Charlie to solicit his advice ahead of this story. I was expecting Charlie Kirk to express the same reluctance as the top DOJ officials relayed to me, the same officials that Charlie, no doubt, in some part or in some way, matter, shape, or form, helped to get their jobs in the first place. I told Charlie I was conflicted about what to do, and Charlie Kirk's last words to me were, "James, you should be a journalist first."
Well, I just wanted to share that because it's pertinent to what's going on. If we don't get the truth out and share the information as it comes out, how are we supposed to get everyone to find out about it? Everyone kept saying that, I heard people, it was for years, like for the last 8 years or whatever, that Q is sharing all this information, and it's a special operation that's going on, and there's people being held at Gitmo, and all these little stories going on. And I'm like, why would somebody take Hillary Clinton, this is one of the stories I heard, to Gitmo, and then go to trial? They execute her, and then they make a clone and put her out, put clones out, whatever, to so the public doesn't go crazy because all their leaders are gone, and stuff like that. It's just stupid. I can tell you right now, if a bunch of shit comes out showing all these horrible things that these people are doing, and then we have public hearings and trials, and then public executions or whatever, however this works out, because I don't know that much about, laws and what happens to people and how they handle them, right? But I don't see a bunch of people going out and doing anything worse than what happened with the Summer of Love shit that was going on. I mean, you're going to have the same people pretty much that are putting buses and shipped from one state to another to riot, are the ones that will be rioting if there's money, if there's money involved. But if there's no money, they're not going to show up. I mean, just like in New York, Madami said, we need everybody to get their shovels and go out and clean your sidewalks and stuff off and stuff like that. But they ended up having to pay people $30, $45 an hour just to get people to come out there. And most of them were just standing around, acting like they were doing something when there's 12 people and there's still snow right there, a huge pile of it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell people. I mean, I really don't, except if you get something and it's truthful, like that young man and gentleman in Minnesota that were trying to show all the fraud with these fake daycares and stuff. People are trying, but if nobody's held accountable after all this work, what was it for? It just endangers people's lives. I mean, I get death threats from my dumb little channel because people don't like stuff that I say. So, I don't understand it. I can't even imagine if you've got, like 1 million people following you and listening to your stuff, and they must be getting tons of hate, especially if they're saying anything against the narrative that the media, the regular, CBS, NBC, all those people. I'm not talking about people on YouTube or whatever. Talking about those people. They must be getting shit tons of death threats and stuff. And that's the scary part, especially if you have a family. What was it? Stephen Miller was talking about how his wife, I played her interview where she was talking about how her kids were being threatened, so they had to move and live on a military base right now for protection because they're getting death threats. Kids. Okay, these are the people that say, we want to see the Epstein files. We want to see, they want to see it. They want people's names out. But if it's not the name they want, well, we're going to go and find the real person and kill them or get rid of them or whatever. It's so stupid because they're just going off half-cocked, not looking at anything. And that's why we're different. We want to share truth and facts. It doesn't, just like what he just said, it doesn't matter whether they're got an R by their name or an L by their name or a D by their name, right? Or an I, independent. Who cares about that shit? This isn't political. These are people's lives that have been damaged forever. A kid is never the same after you've abused them. They're never going to be the kid they would have been if they had been in a different situation. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. So it doesn't matter who it is. As long as the facts come out, we see it, they go to court and they're proven they're guilty, then we hold them accountable, period. It doesn't matter who the hell they are. I don't care who they are. I just want to see the real people handcuffed and go to trial. That's what we want to see. Most people want to see that. That's what we voted for. We wanted safer streets. We wanted illegals not to have the right to vote in our elections when they haven't paid taxes or not even a citizen in this country. So we have to do it. It's on us. And that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to share some of this stuff, not just the little snippets you're going to see here and there about what Hillary Clinton, she was yelling at me, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's Hillary Clinton. I don't expect her to be any different when she's not going to tell the truth. I mean, even with facts laid out in front of her, she's still not going to tell the truth. Now, Bill might, because I think he's a little bit higher up on the level of not being a narcissist as much as she is. I mean, honestly, she wears the pants in their family. And, I don't know how he survived, but he must not spend much time with her or whatever. That's all I can say is that, man, I tell you, I don't know how people can deal with this woman. And she's scary. And that's why those are the few videos that I might want to watch, ones that she's in, because some of the stories I heard from some of the Epstein victims about her were kind of spooky, so, and that was just talking. So if there's any videos or other proof, I'd like to see it, because telling you, that's one scary woman. I mean, I've seen her just a few times in, in different interviews, and her spiders, yelling and shouting at people and getting in arguments. So I can just imagine how creepy it must be. This makes my skin crawl. Sorry. Oh, it's disgusting. But yeah, that's one reason why I'm just trying to share stuff in order to try to give you an idea of how the stuff all connects together, because it's really a lot of shit, and it's just going to keep coming. We got a lot of this stuff coming our way. Okay, now this next one is it's after they interviewed Bill Clinton. There was a few people that came out and they were talking to the press. And he's talking about how Bill Clinton even testified under oath that President Donald Trump was not involved with Jeffrey Epstein that they know of. Okay. And you got to remember, it was a few months ago. I've played it more than once. I've played it many, many times. But a few months ago, I played the same guy. I can't remember what his name is because I'm so bad with that. But he went out and told the press that when Trump fired, I don't know who he fired. He didn't fire. He told Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein that they were not allowed to come to Mar-a-Lago anymore because he was getting complaints about some of the young girls being hit on or, grabbed or whatever. I don't know exactly all the details because I didn't read that part of it, but he got rid of them. And he contacted the FBI and told them, yeah, this guy, and this is what happened at my place or whatever, that type of stuff. So he was one of the first people that were in government, to turn in Jeffrey Epstein and tell him, yeah, this is what happened on my property. And he was interviewed by the FBI, Donald Trump. So I don't know. It just doesn't, all the stuff people were saying about him just didn't make sense to me as a woman. And some women can sense, when a guy is talking to you, whether he's a creep or even men. I'm sure if you have some dweeby woman coming hanging around with you, that she won't leave you alone, that you kind of get the willies when you know that there's something off about someone, and it makes you start paying attention. Or sometimes you'll be in a room by yourself and you get that weird, feeling on the back of your neck, and you start looking around because you feel like you're being watched or something. It's that you get this feeling when you're around some people that are that evil, or that just even, dogs bark at them or cats hiss, and horses, buck you off if you get on a horse and they know that you're not normal, whatever. I've had a lot of people, horses react to certain people when they walk by them because they can sense it. Animals can sense danger, that we don't see because we don't have the same type of senses. But I do believe in that kind of stuff, and I try to pay attention to it. But I was just going to play this because this was on the news, and it was right after they came out. Now, they did say that they're supposed to be releasing some videos on Monday. I said that earlier in the show because I was saying how stupid it was. Why didn't they just do it live? Somebody could just watch it. Why do we have to only get little pieces of videos or whatever? Why can't we see everything? Are you saying that half the stuff they asked them was classified? I mean, if any of it was classified, we should get a general over thing about why it's classified. What does it pertain to? Other governments? Aliens from outer space? I mean, why would they have to say it has to be in close quarters? Hillary Clinton had a illegal server in her bathtub. So I think whoever was going to get the information probably already got it, which is probably China, right from Hillary Clinton's server. So I don't think there's much except us, the taxpayers, that would like to see it. Also, since China probably already has it, why can't we see it? I mean, that's how I look at it. But here we go. Let me play this.
President Clinton said, that's for you to decide. And the president went on to say,
that the president, Trump, has never said anything to me to make me think he was involved and he met with Epstein. So just, I know there's a lot of curiosity about President Trump. I thought that was an interesting thing that President Clinton said. So I'll let the Democrats have the podium and they can answer your questions, but we'll come. President Clinton said, that's for you.
Okay, so that was all. He was just saying that he was wanting everybody to know that he did say that he never saw Trump have anything to do with Epstein. So even though I don't trust Bill Clinton, I'm just saying, I don't know. But you got to remember, everything that they're gathering is evidence, to use in something sooner or later if they need to. So hopefully, and if you lie to these people, they can arrest you for it. I think. See, I don't know a lot, and I wish I had some professionals that knew something I could ask questions and find out, what would happen, But I don't have lawyers as friends, people that are, in that high category. I just don't know people like that on every day so that I could ask questions. But I would like to, get that answer. But this was interesting about Luna gave some wild details about the depositions of Bill and Hillary Clinton. So I wanted to play this interview really quick because it's kind of interesting. So here we go.
He's the author of The Spider, Inside the Tangled Web of Jeffrey Epstein. You just heard our interview with the Congresswoman. Anything you want to add?
I mean, just absolutely fascinating stuff. I mean, there's a lot to unpack, but I have to say right off the bat that if you can hack into the FBI, you can certainly get an individual into that jail to kill Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, we're still learning so much more about exactly what happened the night of his death. In terms of Bill Clinton's testimony, I can't wait to see the tapes if they do release it. There was no question in my mind that he was compromised. You have to understand, on these trips, these foreign trips to Africa, to Asia, to Europe, who knows if Jeffrey Epstein didn't have the phones in the hotels wired in terms of listening in. I wouldn't put anything past him after what we're seeing in these files in terms of how he took advantage of people for compromise, for blackmail purposes. So I think the clock was ticking every time Bill Clinton was in a room with Jeffrey Epstein. And who knows what he really had? We don't know what was in the lockers that Jeffrey Epstein stored computers and hard drives. He was tipped off to the raids. He had PIs. Every time there was going to be a raid on one of his homes, they would remove the computers, they would remove material and hide them in storage lockers. So the FBI, we don't even know if they have all the evidence. What we're seeing is a trial being played out to some degree by the Oversight Committee, the trial that we didn't get because Jeffrey Epstein took his life.
And if you're getting tipped off to potential police raids, you have someone on the inside. Mm-hmm. And we still have not seen anything come out of all of the camera footage that has been seized in 5 of his properties.
Correct.
So the FBI is just sitting on this.
Well, the FBI...
That makes me suspicious of the FBI.
Listen, we don't know what they have. We don't know if the videotapes that were in these storage lockers were ever recovered. We don't know when that hacking took place, what was removed from the FBI files and documents. So there's a lot that we don't know. But what we do know is that this man was capable of blackmail, of compromise, of Prince Andrew, of Bill Clinton, of Bill Gates, the Prime Minister of Norway. We're finding out now may have been a target of blackmail. So he had tentacles all over the world. He was working with other countries, Russia, China, Iran, Israel. Who knows what he told these individuals?
All right, and we're going to have the testimony of the accountant and the personal lawyer in about 2 weeks. And if they tell the truth, that could crack this thing wide open. We'll see how it shakes out.
Absolutely.
Very good to see you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Very, very interesting the more and more you get to listen to some of these people explain the details of things, especially from people that actually know what they're talking about, right? It's not just something that you heard and you're trying to piece together. That's why I think it's important to listen to multiple people so that you can get this piece of the puzzles, all the pieces, and try to put it together and understand it in your understanding level, wherever that is. Because it's hard, it's hard to put it all together, even though my gut tells me, that these people did bad things. And what's funny is that you just said this right here, Lloyd Christmas said, it's at least Bill admitted Hillary doesn't, but it doesn't matter whether Hillary does or not. She's the one that's digging the hole for herself. Okay. She is such a huge narcissist. I mean, everything she says and does, it screams narcissist, narcissist, narcissist. Anyone that knows a narcissist knows that Hillary Clinton's a narcissist. And I know that a lot of people say that mostly men, are narcissists and stuff, and that, if Bill's a narcissist, he wouldn't marry a narcissist. Well, we all have narcissistic tendencies to certain things. And that's why we're able to accomplish a lot of things, because our narcissistic personality traits push us to, like me, I'm very stubborn and bullheaded, because my mother used to always say that to me, because I grab on and I don't want to let go of it, because I gotta get to the bottom. I gotta finish it. I gotta finish this blanket, or I gotta finish this, I gotta finish that. It's tenacity, or whatever you want to call it. But your narcissistic traits are what help you achieve goals, so you can finish things, right? But if you become a narcissist and you can't accept anything but yours, and that nobody else is as good as you, and this and that, and your head gets giant, people tend to just stay away from you. And what's really sad is if you do something, you steal something, or you stole money from your boss at work, or you're sleeping with someone that's not your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, and you're doing different things like that, and you get caught by someone, and they come and they tell you, well, I'm gonna, I want $500 a week, or I'm gonna tell, or I'm going to share this information. Well, then you might do it right away and start thinking, how are you going to get out of this? How are you going to get out of this? The best thing for you to do, if you ever get in that situation, is just go to whoever is going to be hurt the most by it and tell them the truth. Get it over with, because they're going to find out sooner or later. But the longer you drag it out, the more people get dragged into your mistake. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all of the casualties from all the people that said, oh, I got to have that. It's that young, juicy piece of meat over there. It's just so delicious. I got to have it no matter what. So that 5 minutes of joy or whatever is bringing a lifetime of pain to that kid or that young woman, or whatever your situation is. But you're not thinking about that at the moment. All you're thinking about is what you want at that moment. See, that's the sad truth. If you boil it all down, that's all it is. It was somebody's greed of wanting something at that moment. And then the other people that put you in that situation standing there going, this is juicy, and I'm going to make me some money, and I'm going to get power, and I'm going to get whatever. It's sad. And you could take all their power away just by going to the person, and they have nothing on you anymore. See, that the power was always in all of those people's hands. As soon as they did it, and if they had guilt at all, they should have went and confessed. If they did, there's no more power over them. Can't be blackmailed if you confess, right? So that's how easy it is. But for some reason, I mean, shit, I make so many damn mistakes. I'm always apologizing to people, even when they're little stupid mistakes. And I feel like shit, but I wish I could fix it. I wish I could do something to never make those stupid mistakes again. But guess what? I'm human. I'm not perfect. And I know that, but I strive to try to be better tomorrow and not make the same mistakes I made today. And I wish more people had that had pride enough in themselves to say, damn, that was stupid. Why in the hell did I do that? I'm never going to do it again, and work towards not doing it. then you're reaching something different. You're reaching a different plateau, or your character arc. Like Bruce and I talk about all the time in our movie reviews and stuff. We try to watch something unfold, and whether they learn from it or not during the movie, right? It's the same thing in real life. I mean, you're a kid, if you stick your finger in the fire, you're going to get burnt. You know it now because you're an adult, but when you were little, you had to burn yourself first. And then you realize, damn, that hurts. I don't want to do that again. And so you try not to, then get your friends say, hey, let's get some this, do that. And then you let them talk you into doing another thing until you get to the point where you're not going to do it anymore, and then you're going to say no. And if more people said no, like Tim Burchett did earlier, saying that he's being told, why do you want to cause problems? Well, he's not the one causing the problems. He's the one that wants to fix the problem and out the problem, hold people accountable. But yet they're pointing the finger at him saying, why do you want to push buttons? Why do like it's his fault? See, that's what's messed up. We're messed up because it's turned around to where the bad guys are beating the victims down, and we're blaming the victims for it. That's our problem. I actually hear people saying, well, they took money to hush money, so they must not have been as bad as we're all supposed to believe. Unless you've been in their shoes, how can you say that it wasn't bad? Because they took money because they were afraid, or they just wanted it over. We don't know. We aren't the victims. See, it's so messed up when you point the fingers at the victims. And I've said from day one, listen to the victims. They are telling the truth. They're telling what happened to them. And now emails are coming out. More and more stuff's coming out proving that they were right. I just can't wait. I just cannot wait to all the naysayers that I've talked to in the last 3 or 4 years, and just stand there and wait and say, So everything you said was bullshit. You talked bad about that person. You talked bad about that person. You said all that was all bullshit. The whole time I was saying, you got to be patient. Things will happen. And when the stuff starts happening, I want you to apologize to those people for what you said about them, because that's sad. When you're pointing the finger at the people that are trying to get something done, like Tim. That's what I want to see. People like him vindicated, because he's done nothing but try to get these people outed and punish these people. And he's been saying it since I started watching him on TV and stuff in interviews. But you can't find the interviews. You have to dig to find stuff from people like him. But boy, Hillary Clinton speaks and 25,000 people want to record it. And it's all fake bullshit, lies. Everything she says that comes out of her mouth is pretty much not the truth. I mean, the PP dossier, people still believe that shit, even though there's tons of evidence that can be used in court right now that proves that it's lies. But the same naysayers are going to spout that rhetoric just because, for whatever their purpose is. So even when the truth does come out and people start going to jail, they're going to still have people saying, oh, it's so terrible. These are good people and they're being framed or whatever. But don't you wish you'd have people like that rallying around you when you're being framed for something you didn't do? Yeah, I'd be one of those people, because I'm willing to get on a jury and go by what the facts tell me, not by what that dumbass says or this other idiot beside me. I'm going to go by what is given to me in court. That's how you make the answers come out. You tell the truth. You read it, and then you get judged on it. When all this stuff comes out, those are facts. The victims are the ones that were assaulted, and they're the ones that deserve justice. And we should all be saying, get the facts out so we can help the victims. Who do you hear saying that? Very few people. That's what I don't understand. It's sickening, but I'll shut up about that now. But I thought that was very interesting, what he had to say. I'm going to close that. And then we'll go to the next thing that I have. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Let's play this one. Now, he already did testify, but it's still in this whole thing. So I'm going to play it. I think it's number 17. So trying to make sure I pull up the right one. Yeah, here it is. All right. I thought this was funny, so I'm going to play this. This is my little, because I like to pick some things that are funny to make you laugh, because it gets very heavy. So here we go. This is my little poke, or whatever you want to call it.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
12 seconds later.
I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part, for which I am solely and completely responsible. I misled people, including even my wife.
But I want to say one.
What's up? Can't help it. I had to play that. I love that thing. 12 seconds later. That was great. I'm sorry, but it made me feel better. I hope it gave you a little laugh. But yeah, it's so funny. You see something like what I played earlier. I played at the very beginning. Norm talking about Hillary Clinton as the wife of the president and how she's such a liar. It just makes me laugh. But that was 30 years ago. And this shit is still unfolding. This person has gotten away with everything. I mean, look at all the victims in the wake of the Clintons. I mean, so many people have just disappeared or lost their job or they're in prison. I mean, Jim Guy Tucker, he was his lieutenant governor. He was in jail while he was in the White House. So it's like, and then the movie that came out with Tom Cruise starring in it called Mina or whatever. And that was based on facts that the people that were arrested and stuff of the drug running right out of Mina, Arkansas, that Bill Clinton was supposed to be involved in with a whole bunch of other people, the police departments. And, it's just corruption out the wazoo, but people just don't want to, whatever. If it's you, then you'll be crying. But as long as it's not messing with your life, I guess you don't give a shit. That's the sad truth about most people. They don't want to be bothered. It doesn't have anything to do with me, so I'm not worried about it. It's going to affect you sooner or later. And it shouldn't matter if it affects you. If you see it affecting kids, any kid, I don't give a shit whose kid it is. Any kid, if I walked down the street or if I was anywhere and I saw someone hurting a kid, I'm telling you right now, I'd probably be dead because I would try to help that kid, whether it was in my own detriment. I mean, I would do what I had to because that's what God would want me to do. And I would pray to God that somebody would do that for my kid. And that's what's sickening, to know how many people would just go, don't look over there. I don't want to get involved. They wouldn't care if it's a kid. It's like what happened in that court case where that coach was raping children and that guy assistant went down in the basement and his wife said, he's downstairs. So he goes down there and he says he hears screaming. I know I've said this many times, but I just am so angry about it. Hears screaming, and they asked him, what'd you do? He said, well, I went in there to find out what was going on. And he opened the door, and it was the bathroom, and he sees this young boy, 10-year-old boy, in the shower with this guy screaming for help. And they said, what did you do? And he said, I closed the door and I left. I'm telling you right now, that guy should be in prison for just leaving that kid in there, period. That is someone who can't be helped. A person who would turn their back on a kid that's screaming for help is a sick person that needs to be put in prison. I mean, that's my point of view on this subject. I'm sorry. With anyone that would do that to a kid is a sick person that doesn't deserve to breathe the same air that kid gets to breathe, period. So yeah, sick people just make me sick. No, I don't have cigarettes. I don't smoke, but I have candy ones. See, I got these. See, I don't know if you can even buy these. They're really hard to get. You know, those cigarettes that we used to get. Oh, that one broke. Sorry. But remember these? The one I remember getting some that were made out of gum and you could blow on it and puffs of sugar would come out or something. Yeah, I've got a few of these, if that's what you're talking about. I don't know. But yeah, these are cool. But I have a whole bunch of those. But they're not real because I don't smoke. I know I have a raspy voice, but it's not because I'm not really a woman, and it's not because I smoke like a trade, because I don't. But that's just the voice that God gave me. And it's a little bit drier than normal because I have allergies. That's why I drink lemonade, try to help my throat and everything. But yeah, they don't make them that much anymore, Kronos, because it's really hard to get them. It's these little hole-in-the-wall gas stations, you know, when I travel and stuff, that I find some of these really cool things that you just can't go to Walmart or any of these other places and find them anymore, or Kroger. You have to go to these little, you know, little tiny places. But this next thing that I wanted to bring up, I think it's this one. Let me see. Yeah, let me play this next one here. Let me open it. This is another one. It's to the same thing. I think, yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. This came across my timeline. It was talking about the stuff that's come out in the Epstein stuff with Bill and Hillary. And it's so funny because Hillary denies knowing them or knowing anything, even though they paid money. These two people put money to start her global initiative. You know, she's got so many hands in everybody's pies. She can't keep up with what pie she's got on her hands and face because she's licking all of it. You know, she's eating everybody's pie, and probably literally too. I don't know, but you know, she's in Africa. She's all over the place. You know, so she right now, I'm telling you right now, she's probably going to get in trouble because they had this stuff. They have all this. Remember, all the stuff that we're getting to see now, the hundreds of thousands of documents, videos, audio files, documents, emails. I mean, all the stuff that's being released, people are going through it like crazy. I mean, they're going through it with a fine-tooth comb. They're getting as much out of it. And that's the best thing that I think it was genius that they're letting it out like this, because I'm telling you right now, they might find people like us, you know, that are digging through all this stuff like moles are going to probably find more stuff that they didn't even know that was in there, or they missed it. You know, like the one, there was 4 or 5 people that came out really quickly when they first released the files, that if you took the file and you copied it and you pasted it in this other program, there wasn't any redactions. So they saw the names and stuff and they were like, oops, we made a mistake. We'll have to release the other stuff without being in that format or whatever, because they made a mistake. Yeah, how convenient. I wonder if they really made a mistake, or maybe they knew what would happen if enough people got involved. You see what I'm saying? So I think a lot of this is just to get us to be the sleuths so that we're more likely to believe what we're seeing. Because if it's coming out, I'm telling you right now, if Fox News or NBC or certain people put this out, I'm not going to believe it. You know, I would want to get more facts first. But if I got this, that, and the other, and I got it off a government website, and then I started looking at it, then I'm more likely to believe it. Or even if one of my YouTube friends, I hate to say this, gave me something, I believe that way faster than I believe anything that comes from the news. But they've done that to us. They got us to where we don't want to believe any of their shit because they're full of crap. They don't do anything but lie because of the Smith-Mundt Act that Obama signed. And once we can repeal that and get rid of it to where they can't lie to us and give us propaganda that it's against the law and that we can sue them again, that will stop. But as of right now, and we got a lame Congress that won't get off their ass to even put all the judges in that Trump wants, so we can start prosecuting people that aren't a bunch of pieces of shit that are like what Tim Burchett was saying earlier, where they go in, these pedophiles go in, or people like that guy that killed that young woman in the subway. Been in jail 37 times, and they get out with a slap on the wrist, for all these multiple crimes. And then he goes out and kills this girl, just for fun, just stabs her in the throat. It's sickening. It's sickening. And it's just sickening. You get fined and get arrested and get tickets and everything for parking in the wrong place, or letting your dog poop somewhere they're not supposed to, stuff like that. These people are committing robberies and rapes, and they're getting put right back on the street. And then ICE doesn't want to hand them over, or the cities don't want to hand them over to ICE if they might be illegals. So they just put them back in the street so they can take you out and your family out. Oh, disgusting. Oh, this makes me so mad. But I want to play this real quick, because this is a video. So this gentleman, Hugh the Storm, posted this. So here we go. Let me make it bigger, turn it up a little, and play.
Well, one thing that's fascinating is she point blank tells the Justice Department, quote, "I was part of the beginning process of the Clinton Global Initiative." And then she goes on to say that she believes Jeffrey Epstein actually funded the Clinton Global Initiative, and that they came up with the idea together while on a trip to Davos. Now, we know that this lines up with the exact start of the Clinton Foundation in 2002, was exactly when Jeffrey Epstein was flying President Clinton around personally as kind of aerial chauffeur around Africa. I think they went to 5 different countries in Africa together publicly. And this was actually part of the process that I think brought Jeffrey Epstein a little bit too close to the sun, was when he was personally flying President Clinton around while President Clinton was setting up the Clinton Foundation. And we know that what the Clinton Foundation was doing was essentially pay to play while Hillary Clinton was making her rise in New York Senate politics and then into the Secretary of State. And while they had all this clout and connections and pull within the Democrat Party, that they could essentially sell U.S. foreign policy to foreign donors and to big corporations, so that they could essentially, instead of doing things in the national interest, have the State Department, the Defense Department, the CIA, USAID, essentially twist the governance and policies of foreign countries using the battering ram of the American diplomacy and war and trade machine in order to profit the people who personally paid the Clintons for those favors. And so this is totally in line with what I think is the most persuasive theory of the case on Epstein, which is that he was a money bundler. He helped in the structuring of these complex philanthropic influence machines. He was a deal maker, and it looks like he was part of the deal making that went into the origins of the Clinton Foundation, which we're now learning as well. The Justice Department shut down the FBI investigation into 3 different FBI investigations in the Clinton Foundation were shut down, and the IRS investigation was shut down, we're told now, because the IRS claimed they did not have enough resources to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Evidently, the fraud there was so massive, the IRS's defense to get out of political cronyism is that I guess the fraud was too big to jail. They simply couldn't take it on.
Yeah, pretty interesting, isn't it? All this evidence, and this was shown to them because of this woman. So everyone was thinking it was a little black book with information in it, but it's a lot bigger than that. And I don't remember who it was that said that, wow, it's way bigger than what you're thinking. You guys don't realize what you're asking for. But the thing is, the fact that so many of the victims talked about the different things that were going on at the New Mexico ranch. And that's one of the things that I was telling people. Everybody's talking about the island all the time, the island and the plane, the island and the plane. And I said, but he had a New York apartment. And then he also had, a big house or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call them in New York, penthouse or something. And then he had the New Mexico ranch, and he also had a yacht. So there was a lot of places to do a lot of deals, and I guarantee every one of them were loaded with cameras and microphones, and he probably was always had mics on him wherever he went with any of these people to get as much evidence as he could. And I guarantee she also had all that stuff too. And there was also young women that were used years before that were now more mature and weren't the ones that eye-catching young candy that some of these sick people wanted. So they used those girls to help with other things that needed to be done since they were already in the system. And they probably had compromising photos of those young women now that they're 22 and these guys don't want them anymore because they're old hags. They want 17-year-old girl, 16-year-old girls. 22-year-olds like, they're not interested. So they say, well, if you do this for us and we'll pay you and you'll get to have your own place and blah, blah, blah. And this is all you have to do is bring us more young women. We're going to take you to this or that, and you can pick us up some young runaways or whatever. And they paid them. And if they said, well, I don't want to do it, they'd say, well, we got these pictures of you. We're going to send them to your mom or your grandma or whatever. So they were probably blackmailing those young women too. This is humongous. This is a huge thing. And just like I was saying earlier, that a lot of these young women that were being used were some of the names that Pam Bondi was trying to say. There's a lot of names in there that we're going to redact, not because even though they might be one of the people that were helping, right? But they were also victims. So there's a lot of technicalities. There's a lot of women in here too that are victims that signed non-disclosures and took money from Epstein's brother. It was like $220 million, $220 million that was paid out to some of the victims. It's probably even more than that. But I know that Guthrie and there was a few others, that's how she bought her ranch for her and her husband and her kids when she moved to Australia. It's the money that she got from some of the settlements. But that she also opened a foundation to try to help young women and young boys that were taken out of this kind of shit. So there's just so much going on in all different directions. And that's with the victims, okay? But besides the victims, all the sick people that made them victims also were profiting and who knows, using them for all kinds of weird things. And more of this is going to be coming out. Now, earlier, I don't know how to do it because I just don't know how to do it. Bruce wants me to share the names of some of the new people because he had done this at the beginning. And I shared this, but I don't know how to share who they are, who the new members would be. I have no idea how to do it. And I don't have him on here with me, so I don't know how to do it. I guess, did their names change color or something? See, that's what I don't know. This is brand new for me. I've never had this happen before, especially on a stream. Okay, it says on my phone. Now on here, it doesn't say anything. It says nothing. It doesn't tell me any information. But I'm on my phone and it says that the Grim Dark received a membership. And let me see if I can find him, if he's in here or not. Hold on. I'm trying to find it, see if they're in here, because this does not look the same. I don't know if they said anything. So I'm sorry, Bruce. I'm doing the best I can. I just don't know how to do it. I don't see him in here. So I can't put him up on screen or anything. And then the Sporking News, he also received a gift membership because of Bruce. Admiral Teague, I know him. He got one. And the Nerd Tommy, that Nerd Tommy got a membership. So from what I can see on this list. Thank you very much, Bruce. And I'm sorry I don't know how to highlight them. There's nothing on here to do it. It's just blank. It's just blank. There's nothing on StreamYard that shows me that anyone's any different than anyone else, except next to their name, it's either YouTube, an X, or a Rumble symbol. That's it. Nothing else. And a wrench if they're a wrench person. But that was something I gave them a long time ago. But I just want to say thank you to Bruce for gifting 5 memberships to my YouTube channel. I do have a couple videos that are just for members already. I put that up, but I didn't ever think I'd get any. But I really appreciate it. This is really sweet of you. And I'm sorry I don't know how to highlight the names, but thank you. I appreciate you sending me that text to tell me to share that. But I didn't know how to share it earlier because this is all that's on there. So I'm really sorry. I wish I could do it better, but that's the best I know how to do it. So I just wanted to share that because thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. But this whole thing is just a huge, huge cluster, if you know what I'm saying. And it's going to take a lot to dig through all this. This is a lot of stuff. And it's going to take a long time and a lot of legal jargon going on in so many different levels. Not because, oh, that person's this, the guy from Norway, or this guy's from England, or he's a prince, or whatever. Not because of that. It depends on what they did and where they did it. Did they do it in the United States? Did they do it in another country? Even if they're connected, it still depends on where they're from. All that stuff is all, I can tell you right now, the laws in America are different than in Mexico or in Canada. So it just depends on where they did it, who did it, what they were doing. But anyone that did anything in New York or New Mexico or on the plane that was still flying over the United States, I think can all be prosecuted in the United States. See what I mean? Does that make sense? But the island, I don't know if that was an American island or not. See, I don't know enough about that. And if the boat was in international water, see, I don't know about that either. I think we could do something then because we're allowed to take out narco terrorists. But if it's in their water, in Jamaican territory or whatever, I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why we have to let the professionals do it as long as they're transparent about it. See, that's the thing. Once they do have stuff and they're putting it together without compromising the case until it gets to be made public, I think, they should be as transparent as possible. But remember, many times, I've said this many, many times already, Ghislaine Maxwell's trial's over. She's in prison. Why haven't they released the documents from her case? Why are they sealed? Unseal those documents. Let's see what's in that. Because it put her in prison. So it's got to have some good juicy stuff in there. And all those girls that testified for this signed non-disclosures for that kind of stuff. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. We need to get this stuff out. If you want the facts from the victims, that's how you get it. This person's in jail for what she did. And they used evidence against her. And they had evidence against this guy that never got to go to court. And maybe he's not dead. See, a lot of people I'm hearing say he's not dead. They took him out so the Clintons couldn't kill him. I've heard all these different stories from so many different people. But the thing is, what if our own government hit him? Because they knew that when they released these documents, what's going to happen with these people right here in the middle, the Clintons, when they testified and said this, that, and the other, and then this guy comes walking in as during the trial to testify that they're full of shit, and then have to bring up the documents or whatever. So I don't know. That's why I have no idea. So we're just going to have to wait until this unfolds, but share it with other people so more people are interested in knowing what's really happening, not because that guy said so, but because they have documents that are straight from the government. Okay. And they have it on just type in Epstein files or whatever, .gov or whatever, and this website will come up, and it's from Pam Bondi released all this stuff, and she was trying to get more stuff added to it. I mean, it's shocking how much stuff that they have. I mean, I'm really shocked, but there's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of videos that I've shared too that said that they watched some of the stuff and they wish they hadn't seen it, that you can't unsee it, just like I was saying earlier. So really think about it, what you can handle. I would start off by just reading stuff, reading documents. I don't recommend that you just dive in and start watching videos. I watched some of the stuff on just the laptop of Hunter Biden, and I was like, this is disgusting. So disgusting. And I've heard that the Wiener laptop is way worse than Hunter Biden's laptop was. So all these people are, and they all hang out together. They're all best buddies and chummy, and they're all disgusting in my eyes, the stuff that they do and how they treat people, because they're beneath, you and I are beneath these people. Now, honestly, I would be cordial with these people, but I wouldn't shake their hand. I wouldn't go out of my way to meet any of these people at all. I wouldn't, and I'm that way too. When I've done stuff in the entertainment industry, certain people that I know are not good people, I don't even bother to go talk to them or get my picture taken with them or get their autograph or nothing, because I'm like, I don't need it. And stay as far away from those people as I can. Some of them are just not good people. And I tell my friends that, no, you don't want their stuff. You don't need, let's go meet these other ones. These are better people over here. So, it's just because, it's sad. We got a lot of these people. But if you just pay attention, you can find out who they are. And, that's all you can do. I don't buy tickets to their movies. I don't buy their music. I don't buy, I just don't spend my money on things that I know are wrong, or where the money's actually going, or where it's coming from. See what I mean? It's on us. It all is going to fall down on us, because we are the reason why these people have money. We're working and paying our bills and being good people and trying to do that. Like me today, I went and got new tags on my truck so that I wouldn't be driving illegally. Now, why did I do that? Because I care about the rule of law. How can I preach to other people if I don't follow it? If I'm handing alcohol to underage people, stuff like that. If I'm doing, or cigarettes or whatever, then I'm not any better. I don't have the right to say that other people shouldn't buy alcohol for underage kids, stuff like that. If I'm doing it, then, what's the difference? So I don't do that. And I don't agree that anybody else should do it. I think parents should know what their kids are doing on the internet and stuff like that. I'm one of those people. So, sometimes people meet me and I'm just too overwhelming, and they don't want to be friends with me, which is fine. But I'm telling you right now, I'm loyal, and I won't lie to you. If you come and say, "Hey, do you like the way I got my hair cut? Or do you like my new shirt?" I could say, "No, it looks like shit," because I'd expect the same thing from them. If they don't like it, if they don't like something I'm doing, or if I ask their opinion, I expect the truth, not some made up bullshit, or I wouldn't even ask them. You see what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just too, I don't know what, I'm just me, I can't help it. But yeah, this whole thing, more and more of this comes out. Hillary was just lying through her teeth while she was up. That's why she got so upset. That's why she's so explosive. Her personality is so explosive, because if someone looks at her wrong and she thinks they're thinking bad about her, or they don't trust her, or they're going to talk bad behind her back, whatever, she'll take you out in a heartbeat. I mean, she will chew you up at one side and down the other, because she can't stand you. She will do anything in her power to knock you down where you belong, where the worms belong, because I'm up here. Only certain people are allowed up here with me. You're a dweeb, whatever, that kind of person. Oof. And I have I don't care if I ever meet her. And I feel sorry for people who have met her. Let's put it that way. But okay, let me turn this one off again and go to the next one. Got plenty of good, juicy, dirty stuff. Okay, what was this one? Oh, yeah, here's the other one. Oh, it's just shocking to me that everyone doesn't know all of this shit already, because there's so much of it. It's number 13. Valerie or something like that. There it is. Okay, here was the other one that I'd pulled up. It says the Wiener laptop, the device that could end the Clintons and half of DC. All I know is that he got in trouble because he was sexting young girls, underage girls, like what the Epstein stuff was all about, and showing his genitals and nasty stuff like that, all while his little baby and young son is laying next to him in a bed, to underage girls on the internet. That was the one thing that I first heard about it. And he was married to this woman. And this woman was best buddies with this woman, right? But now, guess who she's married to? George Soros' son. So she went from that winner to another winner. Woohoo! She's good at picking those good guys. They got a lot of money. But it's disgusting. These people, they all deserve to be in prison together. I think we should build a prison and put all these people in it and let them be like Escape from Alcatraz for them, basically, and just don't give them nothing. Let them just duke it out for whatever's going on in there and see if they're what they learned out here helps them in there. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, that would be a great show. I'd buy tickets to watch that every week on TV or whatever we do for, like, you know, a documentary or something. But that would be interesting. But let me see. Let me see if I'll play this video for you. Because this one's different.
We got some of these memos. One of these memos involves the discovery of Anthony Weiner's laptop. We have some more huge news to get in front of you from inside the FBI. Just the News has learned that the Bureau has opened an investigation under Director Kash Patel into whether its own agents obstructed or interfered with politically sensitive cases such as those involving Hillary Clinton, Hunter Biden, and President Trump.
Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it. Anthony Weiner's laptop were ever released, the government would fall. Weiner's laptop had kill switches in it.
Hillary Clinton's emails on her unsecured personal server contained intelligence from the U.S. government's most secretive and highly classified operations, called Special Access Programs, or SAPs.
These are the crown jewels of the American intelligence community of the United States government.
The intelligence community's Inspector General, Charles McCullough III, notified congressional oversight committees on January 14th. The letter says a comprehensive review by the intelligence agencies, who have final say on classification matters, found, quote, several dozen emails containing classified information at the confidential, secret, and top secret /SAP levels. That is even more sensitive than top secret and brings new scrutiny to the presidential candidate's handling of government secrets.
If this information is compromised, we're going to suffer very serious national security damage. There's no mistake. You don't accidentally stumble across it and not realize what it is.
Access to these programs is highly restricted and on a need-to-know basis only. The State Department spokesman had not seen the letter, but added,
there are reviews and investigations going on about past email practices here at the department, and I am simply not at liberty to discuss the content.
The new findings are striking, given Clinton's first public statement about her personal server.
There is no classified material, so I'm certainly well aware of the classification requirements.
According to court documents, former CIA Director David Petraeus was prosecuted for sharing special access program intelligence with his biographer Paula Broadwell. Both Petraeus and then Secretary of State Clinton were required to sign non-disclosure agreements promising to protect special access programs with the understanding that a failure to do so has significant legal consequences.
I think this is a real test for the administration as to whether they're going to apply the law in a fair and equal way and treat Hillary Clinton the same way that David Petraeus was treated.
A new email first obtained by the Daily Caller shows the State Department knew about the personal account as early as August 2011, and suggestions to use a government BlackBerry and a .gov account were rejected by Mrs. Clinton's aide, Huma Abedin-Brett.
Obama Justice Department ordered federal lawyers to do and not to do concerning the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge tells us in sworn testimony on Capitol Hill, one of the insiders told lawmakers what she was told.
During closed-door testimony last summer, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page said the Obama administration's Justice Department advised the FBI not to pursue the gross negligence statute for Hillary Clinton in the mishandling of classified information. Former U.S. Attorney and House Republican John Radcliffe led the line of questioning about the statute, known as 18 U.S.C. 793. Radcliffe, you're making it sound like it was the department that told you you're not going to charge gross negligence because we're the prosecutors. Page interrupted. That is correct. Page's testimony appears to conflict with then FBI Director James Comey's recommendation in July 2016 against criminal charges for Clinton.
What I can assure the American people is that this investigation was done honestly, competently, and independently. No outside influence of any kind was brought to bear.
The Republican-led House Oversight and Judiciary Committee investigation ended in January. With Democrats now in control, the committee's new ranking Republican made the Page transcript public.
The transcript releases show an inherent two-tier system, one in which Hillary Clinton gets the treatment that she got, where there was actually at first concern that they were going to charge her, and then with Loretta Lynch in charge, before she recused herself, made it very clear that that was not going to happen.
The tip-off came from a chart drawn up by federal investigators assigned to the Clinton case known as Mid-Year Exam. Fox News has confirmed that the chart listed possible federal statutes for prosecution. Next to gross negligence was a notation, quote, DOJ not willing to charge this. Only known cases are military. Cases when accused lost the information. In response to the Page revelations, the president tweeted the transcripts, quote, make the Obama Justice Department look exactly like it was, a broken and corrupt machine.
It was filled with crap that wasn't supposed to be there. We never get to see it. Supposedly 9 cops watched the videos on Weiner's laptop. They had to keep leaving the room because they couldn't stand what they were seeing. And all 9 are now dead. And there's names and faces and deadness, right? They're real people. Now you can say, well, maybe they died for other reasons. I go, but it's still 9 cops. You know, it's like the 5 cops who died after January 6th, right? 4 of them were suicides. According to AI, there were about 80 cops really in the thick of things. 4 of them died from suicide.
Interesting. A lot of suicides around anyone that's involved with this couple, the Clintons. That's, you know, I think it's statistically impossible. I mean, honestly, just like, you know, the voting for Joe Biden. I mean, just, you know, I don't know. I'm not a, you know, mathematical genius or anything like that. I'm not a genius at all. I'm just a, you know, American. But it's scary when you look at some of the things that have come out, and then we're supposed to just take it as the truth, you know. When we have this kind of stuff going on, it's interesting. We are, you know, we have a whole state that voted this person in, even though other people try to tell him, you know, he's going to try to transform New York City something that you think you want, but you don't, because nothing is free. Everything is paid for by somebody. And what cracks me up is that I played a video on my show last night showing this girl going in saying, so you guys are paying me $30 an hour to shovel snow. This is my shovel. And she was laughing because they said you have to have 2 forms of ID. And she's like, you don't have to have ID to vote, but you have to have 2 forms of ID to get paid to shovel snow. It was just great. It just shows you just how ridiculous these people are. And people just eat it up. Give me more. Give me more stupidity. I'm so stupid. I don't know how to do anything for myself. You know, they're crazy people. I mean, I don't understand that. How you can believe this shit. I mean, look at, there were 16 people standing around poking at this little pile of snow. This alone is costing taxpayers $720 an hour because they're getting paid $45 an hour. And look at this guy. He posts this, and this it's fine. If this is what the people want in their state, you know, and you guys want to pay taxes for it, fine. But when this city goes belly up because of the way they're running it into the ground, they're going to want us to bail them out. They're going to want the rest of the country to bail this state out. Oh, it's too big to fail. I think we should let it fail, because I live in a state, the state of Arkansas has a balanced budget amendment. So our people that run our government aren't allowed to go over the budget. They're not allowed to spend more money than they have coming in, period. It's against the law. They can lose their jobs and get kicked out if they spend more money than they're supposed to. So I don't know why every state doesn't have one. I really think that every state should have to have a balanced budget amendment. I think the federal government should have to have it. The only thing that should linger on whether the balanced budget have leeway is tragedies, like hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, natural disasters, that type of stuff. Or if somebody goes, attacks our country like they did on 9/11, something like that, that there should be exceptions in there somehow for that. But beside that, I don't see why you can't live within your budget. When you get a check from your job and you have a house and you have this much for electricity, this much for the water bill, this much for food, this much for your health insurance or your gas for your truck or whatever it is, you try to live in that boundary, a little circle of saying, this is how much money I have and this is all I can spend, right? If you're expected to do that in every household in the United States of America, why can't our government do it? Why should your mayor of your town outspend your budget every single month and then expect you, the taxpayer, to make up for it at the end of the year because, we went over budget. We went out to dinner too many times or whatever it was, whatever happened, you shouldn't have to pay that. You've already paid your taxes. They should not have spent more than the money they had. And I wish that we could do that. I wish we could figure out how to do that, but I have no idea how to do it. But that's just a suggestion of somebody that, is forced to live within their means. I'm paying for, I'm paying $25 a month just to be able to stream. And I'm just now having a chance to maybe make some money. And I'll let you know when I'm making $25 a month to be able to pay for streaming services. That doesn't pay for my internet, doesn't pay for, anything else. But that's how much I pay just so I can stream on StreamYards. So I can live stream my stuff because I pay for it myself. It's not free. I have a logo on my thing, and I also let anyone who joins me stream to their channel. So I'm paying extra for that, different things like that. Now they do offer it for free, but you can only stream it to one place. Like I would be on YouTube or X or Rumble. You couldn't do all three. See, I'm doing it so I can have it on all three right now at one time. So, I'm paying for more because I'm getting more. You see what I mean? And I don't mind paying because, I had the money, it's tight, but I had the money or I wouldn't have signed up for it in the first place. But I wanted to do it because I felt this is something I wanted to try out and see if I could do it. And I'm not good at it yet, but I'm still trying. I'm making an effort. I'm trying to learn. Just like when Bruce texted me and told me what to do to announce the names of the people. And I'm like, well, I don't see anything on here. There's nothing. Now, sometimes I've shared my computer with Bruce over, online so he can see it and say, oh, you just do this, this, and this. He could show me, but I don't have that right now. I'm doing it right now the best I can with what I have. So, it's like, yeah, that's right. The government doesn't care because they're spending our money. Just think about it. If they had to live within their budget, they wouldn't be spending all this money, would they? See? Totally changes the things. Just like I've said many times, I don't think Congress or any of those people should get better health insurance than what our veterans have. If our veterans have to sit and, wait in a waiting room for 24 hours to get in because they're sick or whatever, or it takes them 6 months or 10 months or whatever, or a year to get in for a special scan because their hips hurting them or whatever, then so should Congress. I don't think they should have like this thing where they have their own doctor that just takes care of just that person, or things like that, and we're paying for it. I don't think that that should be, if your state wants to pay for it, but I don't think the federal government should charge any of us money if they're not going to give the same thing to our veterans. That I really feel that way. I honestly do, because I think it's bullshit. They shouldn't have Cadillac insurance and we got chicken scratch for our veterans. I think that's messed up. So I pay for my own insurance, but I'm not a veteran. You know, I didn't sacrifice and, you know, write my name on the dotted line. At any moment I could have been called to, you know, defend this country, but they did, and they deserve something because of that. They sacrificed for us. And I can't help it. I'm an Air Force brat, and I love veterans because we are free because of our military, period. We're still free after all this time because of our military and what their sacrifices for us. So it's sad that this is what they've done to New York, you know, to one big, huge city. And this city has more people in than my whole state. And they're going to want me to bail them out. See, that's messed up. And I ain't bailing them out. I'm going to rally against it. Don't bail them out. Don't give them one dime. We bailed out Solyndra and all those big corporations that went belly up. And this was going to go belly up because you can't afford to pay people that kind of money every time they have a snowstorm. And did you see what was underneath the snow when it melted? Did you see some of those videos? It was human poop everywhere. It was just all over the place. It's disgusting. But yeah, it was really sad. But let me stop sharing that. It's enough of that stuff. But I can't help it. This stuff to me is important that people see it. Okay, now here is another thing that came in. This is another issue that I'm seeing happening more and more and more in our country, along with the Epstein stuff. But here's another thing that I don't know what we're going to do about it, because it seems like it's growing in every single state. Every single state is getting overwhelmed with it. It doesn't matter what state you're in, because Texas is one of the worst right now that I've seen in the rise of things that are going on. This gentleman posted this. I think it was on Instagram or TikTok. Oh, it's TikTok, because it says so right here on there. It says an all-Muslim city council in Hamtramck, Minnesota, secretly passed a law in 2023 to allow animal sacrifice by Muslims with no permit or oversight. So they can kill goats or whatever rituals that they do, or chickens, stuff like that. Well, and I have chickens, so I can understand, you know, for food. And it says, meanwhile, by federal law, if a non-Muslim executes animals, we will go to prison for a felony. It's just killing an animal for fun, I guess, is what you would call that. But here we go. Let me open this up.
I figured you'd want to hear about this one. So Hamtramck, Michigan. The city council there just amended a law. They are now allowing the Muslims to do animal sacrifices on their own private property. That was illegal, but because of what's going on, the city council in Hamtramck, Michigan, just amended the law to allow the Muslims to do animal sacrifices at home. I mean, where does it stop? Where does it end? This is so ridiculous. Now they're allowing animal sacrifices. Wow.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. This is just a regular person that read it or found out about it through someone else, and they're sharing it. And they're sharing it on a platform that will get, you know, hundreds of thousands of people that would normally not see it. And that's what I'm trying to get people to do, is to, you hear something, go check it out and share it with everyone you know, with your church group, your bowling group, your hunting buddies, the people you play golf with, you know, your family, you know, on different platforms, your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever. To me, it's important, especially if you've researched it and you already know it's truthful, because many people don't know about it. I'm telling you, you can be shocked. how many people you talk to and you're like, you've been hearing about it for weeks, and they go, I never heard of it. You'll be really surprised, because I get that all the time, that, oh, I never heard of that thing. What are you talking about? And then I'd share a link with them or whatever. But it's just shocking to me that so many people don't know about a lot of stuff. It's like, where have you been living, under a rock? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But let's see, what's this one? Okay, here's another one. Now I've been getting more and more stuff on my timeline from different news people, and this one is from Foundation USA, I guess. And this is another thing about Texas, okay, that they're going to start using mosques and stuff as polling places. So just think about it. Now, I've seen them use many elementary schools, fire stations. I'm trying to think of places like that. I know we've used like university gymnasiums, because I've worked in polls in Louisiana and Arkansas before. And those are the kind of buildings we always used. But to use people's churches, I don't think we've ever used anyone's church. And to me, a synagogue or whatever isn't all that like a church. So I don't know. I just don't think that's a good idea. But, but here we go. I'm going to play her video here.
Good evening, America. This is Rare TV. Texas is falling. We need you to get out and vote right now. Democrats are shattering previous non-presidential early voting records in Texas's March 2026 primary, surging way ahead. Are we really shocked? No, because Rare has been exposing the real driver. Over 300 mosques operating in your state. Many now are being used as polling stations. These aren't organic voters. This is engineered conquest. Billions of your taxpayer dollars since 2017 built their fortresses. Mosques as barracks, like Erdogan calls them. Let's look at some of these mosque polling stations Rare has exposed right now. Dallas, Islamic Association of North Texas. Makkah Masjid. Medina Masjid. Islamic Center of Irving. Fort Bend, Maryam Islamic Center. Harris, Mission Bend Islamic Center. Masjid al-Salam. Williamson, Beit ul-Muqit Mosque. And after Rare exposed Maryam in Sugar Land as a refugee magnet, turning Fort Bend into a Muslim stronghold, it hits even harder.
Masjid, with the grace of Allah, has become such a popular masjid. People know about this masjid in other places, and they want to visit, they want to see it, and also they move here because of it.
Right. Because I see Maryam Masjid and the other masajid. Alhamdulillah, I think, yes, we're expanding in terms of structure, but I think, our structural needs are coming to an end. We now need to work towards community building.
Any family from other part of the country or overseas is thinking about moving to the Sugar Land area. What does Maryam Masjid provide a family, a father, a mother, and children in terms of the programs and the community life?
We have quite a few things. In fact, I probably forgot to mention, if they need a hotel, or they need a place to stay for a night or so, no questions asked. The masjid accommodates them. And then our main center, meaning Islamic Society of Greater Houston, then has funds that takes care of, those people from the zakat and the sadaqah funds that we have. So that's for people that are needy.
Mashallah.
For people traveling or moving to Houston, if they come to Sugar Land, if they come to Maryam Islamic Center, we have teams that take care of that. So whether it's connecting them to a realtor, it's connecting them to different organizations that they might need access to, just to make sure that their settlement is easy. We facilitate as much as we can. So we are quite welcoming. We have different programs in place to accommodate and make their whole settlement process easy. It's just that idea that actually is making us grow the way we're growing. In fact, I don't know if you know this or not, but Fort Bend County is predominantly Desis. I don't know. I think I could comfortably say probably 40, 50%, 60% Desi.
Wow.
And now that could be Muslims, that could be, the different sects. But alhamdulillah, that's probably one of the reasons why we all sort of think in that same direction.
MashaAllah, that's amazing. And what was the reason of this growth of Desi population in this county?
I think Maryam Masjid has been one of the key things in the Muslim community. If you look at when people move, they ask this question, where should I move that I will have access to masjid, I'll have access to Islamic education? You know, you have a bunch of answers. You have obviously different communities, but if you start counting, Maryam Masjid is number one. For its beauty, its community, its proximity to, you know, the whole Islamic environment, I think actually makes us what we are today. And somewhere, Maryam Masjid was sort of like the initiating factor, I would say.
Walk in, vote for your mosque brother, or Democrat Demi who'll spread Islam unchecked. Have we lost our minds? Oh, look, here come some of the voters now, heading straight to the polls inside these mosques.
All you have to do right now is go and look at what's going on in Michigan and in New York. They're already playing their loudspeakers for the call to prayer. But what I tell people is if you live and they're doing it in the streets, when they have these giant mosques, you saw every mosque, guess what? Even the airports are now putting in prayer areas where they're separated from the men and the women. The women aren't even allowed to pray where the men pray. That's why if you look in the streets, you see all the men bending down on blankets. Where are the women? They're probably at home because they're not allowed to go anywhere without a man. You guys really need to start looking into that religion, because women don't have rights. You are second, you're nothing. And they mutilate your genitals. They do all kinds of different things because women aren't supposed to enjoy that. They're just supposed to have babies. That's it. And if they put their hand on the Quran and swear an oath, they can lie. They're allowed to lie to infidels. Infidels don't mean anything. We're dogs. And they hate dogs. So that's one thing you won't see. You won't have dog parks and stuff in their territories. They hate dogs. Dogs are only good for farming. You know, their dogs are not to be pets. They're working animals only, and they're unclean, you know, all this different stuff. I've seen people attacked for walking their dogs. So just, they don't assimilate. That's another thing. If you move here and you don't assimilate, then you don't want to be an American. Stay in your own country. Don't come here. That's how I feel. Too many people have died to give us freedoms that you want to come here and take from us. And I won't bend over and let you guys take what I have already. So it's not going to happen. But yeah, it's really sad, the situation that a lot of these states are now in. You know, we're just handing it to them on a silver platter. And guess what? We're paying them to come here because we're doing it as like a gift. You know, they come here, they say they don't have any money. They have a wife in each of the houses down the road, and they just keep having kids. And then within one generation, they rule the city because they have enough people to all the moms and stuff to put their kids in schools and stuff like that. So they're now running for office, and they're mayors and city councilmen, and you can't have a pet. You can't have certain things happen because they voted it out. So I feel sorry for all you guys not realizing that, but if you guys just pay attention what's going on in New York, it's a big enough city to see the changes. And if you just paid attention to some of the other places, you would see what's going on there and how it changed from what it was to what it is now. And you would realize that, wow, you know, I don't want that here. So here we go. But here is another thing that I thought was interesting. Because of the Epstein files being released, not all of it's going to be sexual stuff. Most of these people that get arrested aren't going to have anything to do with the victims. These are going to have to do with money laundering or spending money in places they shouldn't have spent it, or dealing with people they shouldn't have dealt with, you know, that kind of thing. It's going to be mostly that kind of crimes that you're going to see these people be arrested for. So don't get your feelings hurt. getting them arrested for anything is a start. That's how you have to look at it. So don't throw a fit, because once you go to court, that you get to put evidence in. So when evidence goes in, it connects other things. And that's what people need to realize, that it's a step-by-step process. So starting somewhere is somewhere. That's a start. How many of you ever thought P. Diddy would ever go to jail? Even though he didn't go to jail for the big crimes, he's in jail, isn't he? He's paying. His houses were taken. Everything was taken out of his homes. He's not making an income unless, someone else is running his business for him or something. I don't know how they do that, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of people are coming forward that are wanting to sue him now simply because of things that happened to them while they were in his employ. So everything has steps. It will take. Different things will happen if we could just get something going. And that's what I think they're trying to do. They're trying to show you, and these people, I think, knew in advance. That's one reason why they took the Prince's label away and all that, because they knew that very soon he's going to be arrested, because they're going to do it. So I think some people were warned that this was coming, but hopefully something will happen and not just nothing. We did this, that, and the other. Oh well, like they did with some of these other prisoners or criminals, and just put them back on the street. But I'm going to play this real quick. It's only 10 seconds long, but here we go.
We can now confirm that the Metropolitan Police are saying that Peter Mandelson has been arrested. We can now confirm.
Okay, so he has been arrested, but it says former UK ambassador to the US, Peter Mandelson, has been arrested over his leaks to Jeffrey Epstein, per multiple reports. It says he's mentioned countless times in the Epstein files and is taken into custody at his London home for suspicion of misconduct in public office. So that's really a wide gap that so many different things could fit in. So we just have to wait and see as it unfolds. But it's another step. It's another person who's publicly been arrested for his ties with Epstein, right? So we just have to just sit back and enjoy what's happening. And this isn't even in our country. This is in this person is being arrested because of stuff that has to do with their country. But the thing is, it still links to Epstein. And this person, once he starts squealing like a pig because he doesn't want to go to prison or lose what he's got, maybe he'll squeal on other people. So that's what we got to wait and see. Whose names come up when all these people start squealing? You know what I mean? Now, Bill Clinton, he wasn't nothing compared from everybody that I've talked to that's involved in any of this. They said that he basically denied things, but he didn't raise his voice. He didn't throw tantrums, and he was pretty reasonable. He answered questions reasonably. His wife did not. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that, especially when they start bringing out all the proof that she was lying, because they got pictures of her with Epstein. Epstein's partner was at their daughter's wedding, for God's sake, and they got photos of that. So I just don't know how she could just sit there and blatantly lie, unless she's going to say, oh, I have Parkinson's, or I have some other disease that's causing her not to have a good memory or something. That's what I think she's going to end up doing. So we'll wait and see. She'll play any ploy to get what she needs. Remember, she was a lawyer, so she knows what to do. But that's what I think is going to happen with her. But we'll see. It's a little bit here, a little bit there. It's unraveling. So we'll just have to wait and see what the outcome is. And it's going to take one day at a time. But here's something I thought was interesting, because I hadn't heard from Mark Rowe in many, many, many years, where I actually, heard him, being interviewed or talking about something or being on a show. So when I saw this, I thought it was pretty interesting what he's talking about, trying to help young people, because I've seen him do a mentoring stuff where he's trying to bring people into different work, jobs that he feels that AI can't do, basically, like I don't see AI putting a new windshield on someone's car, or changing the oil in your vehicle, things like that. So we still need people that are trained to do different jobs like that. So hopefully we'll see that. But I wanted to play this because that was interesting, because it starts with this. We've been telling kids for 15 years to learn code. Well, AI is coming for the coders. So I'm interested to play this whole thing for you. But here we go. Let me get it bigger and push play.
We've been telling kids for 15 years to code. Learn to code, we said. Yeah, well, AI is coming for the coders. They're not coming for the welders. They're not coming for the plumbers. They're not coming for the steam fitters or the pipe fitters or the HVAC. They're not coming for the electricians. That Ideas Festival I was telling you about in Aspen, I sat there and listened to Larry Fink say, we need 500,000 electricians in the next couple of years. Not hyperbole. This is me being the alarmist again. There's not a week that goes by in my humble little foundation. It's called MicroWorks, shameless plug. We award work ethic scholarships every year, right, to kids who want to learn a skill that's in demand. These are trade school scholarships. Not a week goes by where I don't get a phone call from somebody like the Blue Forge Alliance, who oversees our maritime industrial base. That's 15,000 individual companies who are collectively charged with building and delivering 3 nuclear-powered subs to the Navy every year for 10 years, right? 2 Virginia, 1 Columbia class. Mind-bogglingly complicated. This guy calls and says, we're having a hell of a time finding tradespeople. Can you help? I said, I don't know, man. It's pretty skinny out there. How many do you need? He says 140,000. 140,000. Now, granted, over 7 years, but they need 80, 90,000 right now. These are our submarines, folks, right? Things go hypersonic, little sideways with China, Taiwan, whatever. Our aircraft carriers are no longer the point of the spear. They're vulnerable. Our submarines matter. And these guys have a pinch point because they can't find welders and electricians to get them built. Where are they? They said. We've looked everywhere. Do you know? I said, yeah, I know where they are. They're in the 8th grade, man. They're in the 8th grade. And the same thing, the automotive industry needs 80,000 collision repair and technicians. Energy, I don't even know what the number is. I hear 300, I hear 500,000 everywhere. So not to filibuster, but that's the underlying thing that I just really hope people take from this conference. There is a clear and present freak out going on right now. I've heard from 6 governors in the last 6 months. I've heard from the heads of major companies in the country. It's like a memo has gone out. And people are realizing, you know something? We need to tend to this, both on the PR side and on the demographic. I don't know what to do about the retiring demography. I don't know what to do about 7 million able-bodied men choosing not to work. But I do know that the message to the young men and women in this state that a bright future awaits if they would but learn a skill that's in demand, that's going to resonate politically. That's going to resonate practically. It's going to move the needle.
I think so. And the thing is that as parents, and your child is now about to graduate from high school, right? What have you done as a parent to prepare your kid to be able to think about, before he graduates from high school, or she, what their career choice might be? I remember, kids saying, oh, I want to be a vet, or I want to be a police officer or fireman, or I want to be an engineer. There's so many different things that people were thinking about, and young girls saying, I just want to be a mom, that type of thing. I never said that, but lots of people would say stuff like that. The thing is that computers, I knew lots of people who were into computers, because you always needed the technical people, because you use computers nowadays to fix some vehicles because the electronical stuff, you know, if the windows won't roll up and down, or, you know, different things like that. So you need all these different jobs. But the thing is, if you think about it, we're always going to need people that build homes, because I don't see a house being built by AI. I don't see it putting brick and mortar down. I don't see it putting pipes in. I don't see it putting electrical cords in. All those are good jobs, the good paying jobs. And we're going to always need those because somebody has to do it. I just don't see a robot doing all those things. I just don't see how it would be possible. Not for a long time, at least not in my lifetime. I just don't see how it would be able to do that. The thing is, we need skilled people for these jobs, but we've dumbed down our schools, our teachers stuff have dumbed down the students so bad to where it's like they wanted to make a bunch of dumbasses so they could bring in people to do the jobs. And that these people would just sit in their 15-minute city waiting for Uber Eats to bring them something to eat. You know what I mean? It's just sad and pathetic where we're at right now. When we got people graduating from high school that can't read cursive. They go to a museum and they can't even read the Bill of Rights. I mean, that's pathetic. And China and Japan and all those countries are laughing at our kids because we're doing it to them as parents. It's our responsibility that our children can take care of themselves if something happens to you. You know, my mom wanted us to know how to sew so that if we tore our pants or ripped our shirt or lost a button, that we could fix it instead of having to pay a person to sew our clothes or go buy brand new pants and a shirt when there's just a button missing, you know, things like that. Or how to wash dishes or how to cook something besides a TV dinner in the microwave. You know, can you cook eggs and bacon in a pan? So many people can't. And they just get on their little doodaddy phone and say, oh, I'm going to order a pizza, or I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that all day long. 3 meals a day. That's like hundreds of dollars a day that people are spending just on food. Well, do you make hundreds of dollars a day at your job? You know, this is what I'm talking about. If you can't make a sandwich, you can't make a grilled cheese sandwich on your own, or make your own homemade soup, things like that. I mean, we're in deep doo-doo because we're not getting our kids prepared to take care of themselves. What if they get snowed in and you have to feed yourself for 5 days? When we had that last ice storm and snowstorm that came through Arkansas, I couldn't get out of my driveway for 5 days, and I have an all-wheel drive truck. There was so much ice, and I didn't have enough salt. I ran out of salt, and it sucked. It really sucked. I went out each day and tried to chisel away a little bit here, a little bit there, with a shovel and a sledgehammer, basically. But when your driveway is as long as a football field, that's a long way. You know, it just doesn't happen. It's very rare that happens in our state like that. We're not prepared for that kind of stuff. We don't have, like snow blowers and all the stuff that you'd have in New England area or, up north. So, we do the best we can with what we have, but I could cook. I can tell you right now, I can cook and boil water. I can even get a camping stove out and put it on my porch and cook on that if I have to. But can your kid even change a tire on a car? My dad made sure that all 5 of his daughters, because he had 5 girls, that we couldn't even drive their vehicle to go to the movies or hang out with their friends on the weekend if we couldn't change a tire on a vehicle. Because especially when you live in a rural area where you could be sitting there for 3 hours and no car drives by, it's pretty bad. But nowadays, do you actually want your 2 daughters or your daughter and her friends stranded in a car on the side of the road and not be able to change a tire and sit there and wait for total strangers to come and get them? I don't think so. Especially if you're in a rural area where there's no cell service. I mean, I'm at my house and I have to have a booster just here to use my cell. So unless I have the internet, okay, I can get the internet now. But there's a lot of places that don't have that. You should not let your kid drive your car if they can't change a tire, because if they get a flat, they're stranded, or they're driving and ruin your rim on your vehicle. Costs a lot of money. So it saves you some money, and train your kids how to use their vehicles, how to cook for themselves, how to sew on a button on their clothes, to fix a hole, in their pants or whatever. Things like that are important for when they're not living with you anymore. And they can feed themselves, clean up after themselves, do things for themselves. Can they balance their checkbook? Do they know how much money is in their account, how much money they're going to lose every time they go into the black or into the red? You know what I mean? Are they prepared? So that's up to us as parents. It's our job to make sure. Yeah, we're sending them to school. The teachers are supposed to send them stuff, but it's your job to make sure that when they do come home, what do they know? Have they learned anything? I don't know. It's sad to see so many people falling behind that can't get jobs. Was that either they don't want to work because they're so used to getting everything for doing nothing, or they think they're worth $25 an hour for their first job. Well, I'm not going to go pull feathers off a chicken. Ooh, I'm not going to do that. And then I can't wait tables for $2.50 an hour. What if I don't get any tips? It's just, I don't know. I just don't understand people, but that's what it's like in the real world. Once you have to start trying to find a job, you got to have some skills. You got to have something to offer these people, because they're not going to just hire you because you look pretty, unless you're going to be a stripper or something like that. But yeah, tips now, no tax on tips, which is great. But if you're a crappy waitress and you can't carry their food without dropping it, things like that, you're not going to get tips. So I would recommend that you have other skills, that you work on your skills to be able to get better jobs, and while you're going to a trade school or whatever, you're still going to have an income. You're still going to have a part-time job of some sort for gas money or whatever, because not everybody I know has, can afford a $900 phone, your phone bill, your insurance on your car, all that. There's a lot of money that's coming out. So you got to have some way of making something. So have some skills before you graduate from high school. Work on something. Try in the summer, have a summer job. My parents made all of us girls have to pay for our own dress for the prom. And we also had to buy our own annual from the school, our own senior rings. We had to do all those things. So which meant if we wanted it, we had to plan all summer and babysit, mow yards, have some type of job to make money so that we'd have it for fall so that we could buy those things, depending on what was going on. So I don't know. My parents just, they weren't rich. They had 5 daughters and we had 1 bathroom. So just think about that. So it was very interesting growing up in my home, but it was fun. I had great parents. So let's see, what was the next thing I had on here? Oh, here's another one that was pretty good. I'm gonna play this one. This is more on the Epstein stuff. It's Benny Johnson. I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but he's got a really good podcast. It's very interesting. He's very on point. But this whole thing was pretty good. It says, we're watching the fall of Jeffrey Epstein's global elite network, and it's just starting. Since the Epstein files dropped, Prince Andrew's arrested, but not because of what he did. It's not stated in the arrest thing that he, did stuff to young girls or anything like that. It was something to do totally opposite. Ambassador Peter Mendelsohn was arrested, which I showed earlier. Bill and Hillary Clinton grilled under oath. The Bill Gates cancels events and confesses. Obama lawyer Kathy Ruminer resigns from Goldman Sachs. Thomas Felskitzer, I think I didn't pronounce that properly, but resigns at Hyatt CEO. WEF CEO Borge Brennan resigns. Larry Summer resigns from Harvard. Ex-Norway PM, I can't pronounce his name, attempts suicide after probe. And Peter Atta resigns from CBS News. Who's next? Well, that's a lot. You remember what? I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was somebody in this administration, I don't know if it was Trump or if it was Pam Bondi or whoever, said that it's not going to be the people you think. It's going to be names that you probably don't even know, or you don't really know that much about any of these people. These aren't the big woohoo names like Bill Clinton, Hillary, all these other people, famous people that you were expecting to be on the list. They'll be the first ones to be arrested. I don't know these people. Let's see. I don't know any of these people except Bill Gates, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and the prince. That's it. Out of all these people on this list, and I'm telling you, most of the people on these lists that come out that are going to try to kill themselves or whatever it was they did are going to be people I've never heard of. But what I played a couple weeks back with the interviews with two of the victims, and one of them was saying when Bill Gates came there that he wasn't interested in a roll in the hay, that he wanted to do his scientific experiments on the girls, and that her job, the one girl, was to try to keep the girls calm, the younger ones that they were taking eggs from and other things. They were doing experiments on these girls. And then others would come and they would scare some of the younger girls and then drain their blood for the adrenochrome, things like that. That's why some of these people, like this one guy, would want to kill himself. I mean, a lot of people were saying some of the videos that they got to watch were just causing them to have nightmares. Now, I haven't watched any of the videos. So if you want to see some of that stuff, you just go to the website and start going through all the files. I mean, there's quite a lot on there. But you can search, I think, video files, audio files, emails. It's all set up like that. But I'd like to start going through some of them, but I don't know if I'm going to ever, want to go to the videos and things like that. But I definitely want to read a bunch of these documents and stuff myself. But I already believe it. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening and watching interviews with the victims for many, many years. And I've always said, listen to the victims. You will find out they're right, because this stuff with Bill Gates, he's already confessing to all this stuff. And they were saying this years ago, and they would taunt the girls and say, you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, you're a slut, all this horrible stuff to the victims, because that's what always happens. They attack the victims instead of doing something about the scumbags that are making them victims. It's just backwards. It's all backwards. But I'm going to play this really quick for you. I'll stop talking. Hope you enjoy this.
Clinton plots games and explosive Epstein testimony as Republicans reveal game plan. Peter Mendelsohn is arrested by the police amid probe into alleged misconduct in public life. So there has now been a series, one after another, of major arrests, major departures, major collapses in careers. Larry Summer just left Harvard. Yesterday, this is Obama's Treasury Secretary, Kathy Rumler, Obama's personal lawyer inside of the White House. Mm-hmm. She got canned from Goldman Sachs. Now a math teacher from Harvard is put on leave, along with the absolute and total pillaging of multiple different departments and staffs throughout the Ivy Leagues that had connections to Epstein. Totally humiliating. Peter Attia has lost his job at CBS and is disgraced for all time. He's a health and fitness guru. And the World Economic Forum is not immune to this. Crazy news, ladies and gentlemen. The president of the World Economic Forum stepping down today. Another scout, president of the World Economic Forum, quits following speculation over links to pedophile Epstein. So you want to talk about the heart of darkness? WEF CEO, his name is Borge Brende. He has resigned today as of a few minutes ago. He became the president of the World Economic Forum in 2017. So this is not some new fresh kid on the block. He's been around the block for a while, announced his decision in a statement following the disclosures from the U.S. Justice Department that showed the Norwegian had business dinners with Epstein and also communicated with the disgraced financier via email and text message. President and CEO of the World Economic Forum, which of course organizes the Davos Summit, which organizes globalism, the beating heart of globalism, has stepped down. He had a relationship with the sex offender. And of course, these relationships all happened after he was a proven sex offender. I'm not going to sit there and say that you shouldn't have been creeped out by Jeffrey Epstein before he admitted to being a predator. But do people even understand what he admitted to? You understand? Like what the guy, if you go ahead and read how he pled out in 2016 through 2008, I'm sorry, 2006 to 2008. And again, to the great shame of the George W. Bush administration, this was under the George W. Bush administration. They're the ones who protected him. And then that continued through the Obama administration, who didn't prosecute him. And then that, of course, continued through the Biden administration, who did nothing to release the files or do anything. But a black eye, I doubt there's many George W. Bush fans. Robert Mueller was the director of the FBI during this time. This was Alberto Gonzales. There's Attorney General. So, like, what was going on? I mean, they were protecting an intel asset, and they made that very clear. But go ahead and read. There are 127 different allegations of underage trafficking from Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted to this. He pled guilty to this. He's pled guilty to trafficking and prostitution of underage women. That was his charge. And nobody else was wrapped up in this. Everybody else got immunity. It's a disgusting thing that he pleads guilty to. And then after that, he gets these relationships. There is a distinction. There is a line that has to be drawn. Pre that plead and after. He says, yes, I'm a pedophile. Because afterward, it was then written in stone. Beforehand, according to President Trump, it was just him being extremely creepy and leering at Mar-a-Lago, creeping everyone out, bothering women. This is why he was kicked out of Mar-a-Lago. We've heard the full story from Rudy. And so there's a difference and a sharp distinction. And I think that distinction absolutely does, in fact, need to be made to be fair.
Yeah.
And so again, if you scroll through this article, for instance, the World Economic Forum, you can see this guy, Borge Brandy. You can see all these photos of him having the time of his life with Jeffrey Epstein after he admits to pedophilia. There he is with Steve Bannon. Woof. Guys, I don't know what else you want to hear from me about Steve Bannon. I've read the text messages. I've read them live on the show. I've read them in various videos that we've done and recordings. We've investigated this. It doesn't look great. There needs to be a real conversation, and this needs to be addressed, just like everything else. Just like the Clintons today.
Well, what's interesting about this is the fact that he just explained all these people, the Clintons, other people that we know about, started hanging with him and doing stuff, going to the island and all that, what was her name? Ellen DeGeneres and all, other actors and singers and other people, the Obamas and all of them started hanging out with him after he pled in court that he was a pedophile. That's when they all started hanging with him, knowing that he was a pedophile and he had lots of money, that they were stepping on his property. How could they possibly trust this person to not film him and stuff and then do dirty things? Was it the fact that he was a dirty, disgusting pig is what attracted these people to him? See, that's the kind of stuff to me that's interesting. When you think, oh man, I just love what's her name? I can't remember, the little blonde that sings, and she just goes on and on about how she loved Obama and she loved Hillary Clinton and now she loved Biden and blah, blah, blah. And people just flock to her and they cry when they see her in concert. And now she's dating some famous football player, all this kind of stuff. It's like they worship the ground she walks on. But these are the people she's pushing on all her people that buy her records. It's disgusting. It's all a big, nasty ring, and they have enough money to buy their way out of it. If you make $300 million a year from record sales or whatever, and they took half of that, the government took half of your income at that much, does that change your lifestyle? Not really. But if you make, $300,000 a year and they take half of your income, it changes your lifestyle. The way you live, where you can go and how you dress, everything about you starts to change because you can't afford it anymore. So that's the difference between them and us, is the fact that they can afford the best lawyers. They can afford to have people go and whitewash their background, get rid of their videos, do scrubbing of the internet and all this kind of stuff. And Obama and him and Michelle had just bought property, a brand new house, a mansion and stuff in London. Okay. I think last year or early last year, to be ready to maybe leave if they need to, because now they're working for Netflix. They got shit tons of money. And I think I don't know how long ago it was, but I played that interview with Biden at what he would do if he could run for president again. He said, well, I would just, like sit in my basement and wear headphones and tell someone else what to do. So I wouldn't have to be there every day. It's pretty interesting when you think about it. So, maybe he was the one running everything and telling who, what, the whatever, to use the auto pen to write stuff, because Joe was on his, Dolly or whatever you want to call it. Because I kept calling him Weekend at Bernie's, because it was like, he didn't know who the heck he was. It was terrible, the whole thing. And I'm glad that President Trump signed an executive order to get rid of the auto pen stuff. All the stuff pretty much that was written with the auto pen, they proved that he had nothing to do with, that he wasn't there or wasn't present when it was signed. They're null and void. And some of those were pardons for people. So, but the sad truth is, why didn't Congress do it? See what I mean? See, because we got so many rhinos and so many corrupt people that are in government. That's what I'm excited for. I'm waiting to see the links for that, because how could they vote no on the SAVE Act, not wanting just Americans to be the ones to be able to vote on both sides? I'm not saying that, the Democrats. That's not what I'm saying. There is a shit ton of rhinos in there too that I want gone. They're useless. They're not helping me. That I didn't vote for them. They're not voting. They're not doing America first. I want to clean up our streets, put criminals in prison, prosecute people that have been getting thrown out in the street over and over again, to re-assault people simply because they don't care about the taxpayer. They just care about themselves. They're self-centered assholes, basically. And I just want to see all them prosecuted. So get rid of anyone that's in office that's not doing what they said they were going to do when they ran. All these people, half these people that are doing nothing but sitting on their fists and leaning back on their thumb, or twiddling, playing twiddly-dee, twiddly-dum, all ran on Trump's coattails saying, I want American first. I want this, that, and they haven't done shit. They haven't even got all his judges in yet. We still got shit tons of liberal judges are the reason why we got all these criminals, because they just do this. Bad. Don't do it again. Get out. Even after they've assaulted people and shit. It's disgusting. So, I'm not happy with any of these people. I'm happy with a very small group of people that are in there working right now, like that one Tim Burton that I showed earlier today. He's one of them. He's one of the good guys. And there are good ones. But we've got to start weeding these people out. And that's our jobs, because they come from our states. Our states voted those people in and we sent them there. So our state can vote them out and send someone else. Okay. That's how we can make a change up there. We can make a difference, but your ass has to get off the couch, work the polls, whatever you have to do to try to keep it as fair as possible. make sure your judges and stuff prosecute people that cheat. If they have any evidence, get them put in jail for it. Make them pay fines, whatever. Not a $5 fine. I'm talking about lose their home, stuff like that. They took your right away in your state, and then you guys just give them a slap on the wrist. Bullshit. Your states need to start fighting for the people that pay the taxes in your states. That's when we'll start seeing a difference. Okay, let me see what this is real quick. Yeah, I don't know. The only way we're going to know for sure is by talking to him, interviewing him, just like what they're doing with the Clintons. Bring them in. Let them answer the questions just like everybody else. Anyone that had emails and phone calls and, all the other stuff that we're digging up, bring them in. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think anyone, honestly, has a problem with getting to the bottom of it and finding out what all these people were getting from their relationship with him. Because just like I don't know, I think it was Pam Bondi and maybe Kash Patel was saying that not all of them were in with Epstein to get sexual favors. Some of them were in it for money. Some of them were in it for just business deals or answers to questions of how they could do their business. Because a lot of people thought this guy had answers to a lot of stuff because he was so rich and he was he knew so many people and stuff. He was intriguing. So that's what I want to know. And the only way to find out is to bring everyone in and question them. Because now that they have emails and they have recorded phone calls and they have other documents, they just get their documents, put them over and say, okay, bring this guy in. Let's go through these documents and find out what all this means. And that's how you get the answers. Then if it ends up being nothing, you just set it aside and do the next person and do the next person. And when you get all the evidence that shows that they did do things that were illegal, then you start prosecuting people. That's how it should be done. And hopefully that's what's going to happen. The people asked for it and then Trump made sure it got released. So let's do it. Go for it, babe. Let's start prosecuting these assholes. That's what I think. I don't care if it's Bannon or whoever it is. If they broke the law and they were committing crimes, they should pay for it. I don't want to see innocent people. I want to see that 80-year-old woman that's in, is it Colorado? She's in jail because she was a whistleblower about the cheating for elections. Then get her out. Those kind of people, that's ridiculous. You put someone in prison for trying to tell, hey, these people are cheating out the wazoo, but you let the cheaters walk, but you put a woman in prison that tried to tell people that they were cheating. See, that's messed up. And the people of that state should get rid of the people that cheated and help that woman get out of jail for being there for no reason, basically, for trying to be a good citizen. Just like all the people that sat in jail after January 6th, now that stuff's come out that proves that it was a setup and that these people didn't do anything. They didn't even get their due process or anything. And if it happened to different other people, there would be an uproar over it. But I don't know. It's so backwards. Everything is so opposite of what it was when I was a kid that I remember it being. That it's like we're in La La Land or something. It's all fucked up. I don't know how to fix it. But the only thing I know to do is to bring light on it, to share it with people. And maybe somebody out here is going to say, hey, I know how to fix it. And then you can get on the government website and hopefully give somebody some ideas. What is this? No, let me go up to the one I just uncovered. So hold on. I got to uncover that one. This one here, was it above this one? Okay, let me go up a little higher and see. Let me hide that one again and keep going up. I'm sorry, I don't know which one you were wanting me to see. Yeah, I saw some of them, but I don't know which one. Was it your comment or someone else's comment? That's what I don't know. Sorry. I'm trying to do the chat and present this stuff. There was a couple other ones that it was yours? Okay, let me go up a little bit more. Sorry. Oh, just give me a minute, guys. I'm having to go way up on here. Okay, it's the Steve Bannon seemed to either believe the narrative. Yeah, I played that one. So we got to go up into your next one, I guess. Let me find the one above that one. Oh, I just messed up. About Epstein's plea deal. Yeah, let me go up a little bit more. It won't let me go any higher. I'm at the very top. It only lets me go back so many minutes. So I missed it. I'm sorry. Took me too long. No, I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to read it. I'm trying to read it, but it's hard because trying to just do all the different things by myself is hard. That's why I started it as a panel, so I'd have other people on there. Okay, let me stop that and then go to the next thing. Let me see, which one was it? Oh, this was really shocking when I saw it. I was like, you gotta be kidding. Number 14. Yeah, this right here. Okay. This is another person in New York City. He says, I'm going to just walk just one block to show you how bad it's gotten. This is the most expensive area in New York. It's spreading block to block. It's going to need its own zip code soon. So this is some guy. He's on a cell phone and this is the most expensive property in New York City. So let me show you since Mandami's been in there.
Literally just this one block to show you how bad it's gotten, okay? All right, this is Canal Street. We're walking south. And just look how bad this is all metastasized and going insane. Look at this. Block by block, after this was completely clear before. This is the most expensive real estate in New York City, by the way. Like, this isn't some area of Brooklyn. This is Tribeca, Soho. Multi-million-dollar homes, property taxes through the roof, and this is what we get.
Timmy, what we thinking?
Look at this. Spreading block by block. It's going to take up its own zip code at some point. Look at this. All illegal broad daylight.
You guys see any police officers? I don't.
Watch out. Pardon.
That one's more yellow.
Wow, that is amazing. What do you guys think it's going to look like in 4 years in New York City? I mean, think about it. It's supposed to be the most expensive area of New York. Soho is what he said. Why isn't there any cops? You know, I just don't understand. I've only been to New York twice, and I didn't like it years ago when I got to go because it was so crowded with people and there was trash all over the ground. It was just so impersonal. People were rude and they just push you out of the way. And so it was terrible. I like people that say hello, hi, and stuff like that. In New Orleans is one of the happiest cities I've ever been to. I lived there for years, and it didn't matter if you were short, tall, fat, thin, black, brown, white, didn't matter. Everybody waved and said hi and were friendly. I was downtown New Orleans, so I don't know. I didn't enjoy Boston when I went, and I didn't enjoy New York City. So it was like, ugh, I just didn't like it at all. So yeah, it was really bad. But he was talking about it, and it was just terrible that can just go on in broad daylight, illegal stuff like that. And it was trashy looking. I mean, the streets just look unkept and trashy. So I don't know. I just think it's really, really sad. And I feel sorry for people who didn't vote for that person that has to live with the rest of the people that did. Oh, here it is. Okay. I figured out that you couldn't find the comment because YouTube's auto censorship deleted it. Oh, because yeah, I don't have I have Kronos in here, and I saw him help me with a couple people, but yeah, YouTube will get rid of stuff all by itself. Because I tried to post something last night and it wouldn't let me. I guess there was a word in it. I don't know what word it was, but they said that you want to rewrite this or whatever because there's something wrong with it. So I guess that's it. Reworded version below. Okay, so now you redid it. Let's see what this is. This it? Spun his 2008 guilty plea as being isolated incident involving a 17-year-old who lied about her age. Yeah, and I know quite a few singers and actors who've done exactly that. That is why they're so, no big deal. That's like I said, that's why I'm waiting to find out some of these interviews with some of these people that say that, oh, I'm just trying to get some information because I was thinking about doing a show or a book or whatever, and see what they say, because I might believe them. But a lot of people do that in the music industry and in I think it was one of the Eagles. I can't remember which one, but I remember reading it because I was researching it to do a music show, and it was one of the Eagles that had gotten in trouble because supposedly they were with an underage girl, but they said that the girl told them they were older than that. So I was like, yeah, whatever. They always use that as an example, because you got to remember, men want younger women. As they get older, they want a girl that looks hot on their arm. They don't want some old wrinkly old hag hanging on their arm. They want to look like they're a stud muffin, they're driving a stick shift with the Lamborghini, and they want a 20-year-old that has giant hooters, and bleach blonde hair. And then you got the old hags that want the, nice looking man to hang on their arm, I guess. I don't see that, but that's why they have cougars or something like that. But that's sad, but that's reality. I mean, look around, you see all these old guys on their fourth relationship or whatever after they divorced their first wife, the one they had most of the kids with, and now they got some young bimbo that they're going to be with for a few years until she finds another guy that has more money than the guy that she's got. But the thing is, that's what they want. I mean, that's what they go after. They chase these. I mean, all you got to do is look at some of these guys and then see the woman they have, and you're like wondering, what do they even talk about when they're not with people? Look at my nails. Aren't they pretty, honey? Don't you like my new bag? That kind of conversation. It's like, ugh. So that's what they want. So apparently that's what they're going to get. Yeah, I'm true. I believe that. I'm sure that's exactly why. And a lot of them will say that that's why. Well, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He told me the girl was underage, but he didn't know it. That he thought she was 18. So it's like, what was that movie we reviewed a couple months ago? The Big Lebowski or whatever. And there was this guy on there. He was constantly talking about wanting to be with, some girl that was underage or something. but it ended up being, maybe it wasn't that movie. Maybe it was the one with the restaurant. I can't remember the name of it. Some guy was, all he wanted was underage girls. It was real disgusting and perverted. I didn't like it. That was one of the movies that I didn't give a very good rating to. But to me, I just don't understand that. Who wants to have a relationship with someone you can't even have a conversation with? You know, how you can't be in the bedroom 24 hours a day. You got to go outside, go do stuff. And how, I just don't understand how that works. That's why I look at some of these guys, I'm like, what in the heck? You know, I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. And then they gripe later on, all she wanted was my money. Well, yeah. And you acted like that's what you wanted. All you wanted was her Hooters, and you gave her a big fat wallet so that you could walk around with someone with big Hooters. I mean, it just, I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't feel sorry for any man whose woman dumps his ass for a richer guy when that's all he was looking for. He just wanted some dumb tart instead of an actual a relationship with someone. Or they get a mail order bride from another country that can barely speak English because he just wants to make sure she stays home and has his house clean and has sex whenever he wants it and feeds them. You know, that's another losing type of relationship that I think is pretty sad. You know, it takes effort to have a relationship. You know, it takes two people sitting down and speaking to each other and asking questions and doing stuff. And if you have like interests, like if you both like to go hiking or you both like hunting or fishing, you have something. You start a relationship that way. You know, I don't know. I just guess I'm out of the loop from now with people. But yeah, let me see what this one is. Oh, so he was thinking he could help him rebrand himself. Interesting. I wonder how he feels about it now. Has anybody interviewed him? You know what I mean? And asking him, well, how do you feel about you were going to want to do this and that and help him out. How do you feel about it now? Do you feel like you misjudged him? That would be interesting because that'd be kind of embarrassing, wouldn't it? When you put in all this time and effort to write a book for someone, or you wanted to do something for something, and then you find out the guy was nothing but a serial killer or something like that. That would be pretty crappy. Yeah, that would be sad. But you know, it can happen. You know, women get duped a lot. I mean, most divorces are because of adultery, right? So men and women both get duped because they're with somebody, the person's working late or whatever all the time, more and more and more. And then they end up going, I'm going to go see, and they find out they're having an affair on them. So how long did it take? Was it 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months that you were duped, you know, during that time where you wanted to believe, but then you found people kept saying, no, that doesn't make sense. And then you end up getting suspicious and go and find out, yeah, you got duped, you know, you got cheated on or whatever. So I think all of us have fell for that because we all, when we're in love with someone, you want to believe the person who's telling you that you supposedly loves you back, that they're not liars. You know what I mean? You want to see what's best in them. But once, you know, 3 strikes, you're out, you get the hell out of it. You know what I mean? Why stay and keep putting up with that shit? I mean, I've got quite a few videos I've made about that type of stuff. I've done a couple of live streams about relationships, and then that communication is one of the most important things, to know what each other wants. There was something that attracted you to each other in the first place. Keep that going. You know, how can your relationship collapse if you both work at your relationship and you both know what each other wants, because you've got what it's called speaking to each other, and you work on that, then your relationship should work. But if one doesn't want to hear, they just say, I'm too tired, and they never want to listen to what you have to say, they never put anything to the relationship, well, they've already left. They're already looking for something else because they've lost interest in your relationship, because they're never there. They're never available for you. That should be one of the big signs, a neon sign, bing, bing, vacancy, vacancy. So yeah, it's pretty sad, but it's this one. Yeah, that could be it too. It could be that simple right there, that he saw this guy and thought that a few things that he's done in his past, and this guy's busy all the time, that he could get in there and get some money and another notch in his belt if he could just help this guy fix his image. Yeah, that makes sense too. I mean, there's so many angles on that because that's what I'm saying. There's so much going on. It's so busy. It's a huge map with all these roads leading away from Epstein and all the different side roads, and someone's got to go slowly through each road and down the side roads and come back and then go down. It's going to take a long time to clean all that up, to find out who's who and why they were there. And we have to rely on that. And hopefully we have a good enough group of people that's documenting it well and being public about it. You know what I mean? It might be the best, you know what I mean? Be the best thing ever. So it might work out that way. We finally get justice for a lot of people and not just ones that were assaulted by these scumbags. But if there were girls there that had scientific experiments performed on them, or even young boys because of Bill Gates and stuff, they deserve justice, even though they weren't raped by him. They were raped, but they just weren't physically raped in the sexual content. They were raped of their bodies by being used in an experiment for who knows what purposes. So it's all that stuff is sickening. It's all disgusting. And I want to see all of them prosecuted for some of the things they've been doing. But hold on, I got a couple other things that I want to bring up once I get them. I'm trying to find out which one's which real quick. Oh, what's this one? Oh, okay, here's one. Oh, this one's a good one. So let me open that one. This is one of the ones that I was like, yeah, I want to do that one. I think it's Concerned Citizen. Let me see if that's it. No, that's not the right one. Darn it. Yeah, I think this is it right here. All right. This one came across my timeline. I thought was really good. A former advisor to the Clinton administration blows the whistle, claiming that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton both visited Zorro Ranch multiple times to meet with Jeffrey Epstein. This is one of the things that I was saying is going to come back to bite her in the ass when she kept saying she never had anything to do with him and that she didn't know anything about any of his activities and all this bullshit. And then I showed you the other thing about how him and Maxwell are the ones that helped her set up that whole foundation. So, I mean, she's just digging her grave. I mean, she's just digging it deeper and deeper and deeper because she thinks that she's untouchable. And I hope that she realizes, damn, you're going to be real touchable when you're in prison. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm cheering for it because I want to see this woman go to trial. And if she ends up getting off in trial, then there's nothing we can do about it. She can't try her again. But she deserves it with all the mountains of evidence they have against her for even, not even just this, the whole fake PP dossier and shit. I want to see her prosecuted for that too. But it says there's evidence, including photos of her with Epstein, and he's not suicidal. So here we go. We'll play this real quick for you.
The fact that Ghislaine Maxwell was at her daughter's wedding, and her story now is, she was a plus one. Well, who was she the plus one with as the pimp in chief for Jeffrey Epstein? And the alleged 13-year-old girl, her entire testimony was discounted by the FBI after investigation because it supposedly happened again when she was 13 or 15 at Hilton Head Island with no evidence whatsoever to back up her claims, and she was determined to be really kind of off mentally. So again, the left keeps wanting to throw Bill Clinton aside while focusing on Donald Trump. It was Jeffrey Epstein who went to the White House 17 times, with Hillary always out of town. Bill and Hillary went to the Zorro Ranch multiple times, and she never met Jeffrey Epstein there. There are pictures of her with Jeffrey Epstein, while she claims, both in apparently her sworn testimony and afterwards, she never met the man. So are we supposed to believe our lying eyes or Hillary Clinton?
I guess the difference is she's saying, I don't remember meeting him. Maybe that's one of those small legalese phrases, which means that she gets off swinging off a massive giant hook. Steve, do you think there's been any justice for the victims of this?
But so many of these people who write these long books detailing their time in office or as a camp, they can remember everything when they're writing a book. But when it's a tough question, I can't remember ever meeting the man. And her statement afterwards, and her lawyer's statement, was definitive. I never met the guy. That's not true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I actually believe she's going to do is she's going to state that she has mental incapability of remembering it because she's got something wrong with her. You know what I mean? She had seizures or whatever. I don't know what it is, but that's what I think her defense is going to be, because they know there's mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence. And that's the only thing I can see where she can get sympathy for it. And look who she's married to. He cheated on her multiple times. You know, she's going to bring in anything and everything and throw him under the bus, and throw everyone she can throw under the bus of why she's that she was misdiagnosed by her doctors. They didn't help her, you know, whatever. It's going to be all sob story about why she can't remember all these things. And you just wait and see. It's going to be just the opposite of what everybody said about Biden. You know, oh, he's perfectly competent and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be just the opposite. Poor Hillary, you know, she was taking all this medicine, trying to figure out, you know, that's why she almost fell when they were trying to get her in the limo, you know, all this shit. They're going to use all that stuff to blame the doctors for not helping her because she was having seizures or whatever it was. And that's why she has lapse in memory and blah, blah, blah. She can't remember all these things. So she can't be held accountable when she really doesn't remember anything. Right? I don't remember having a server in my bathroom, and I don't remember hammering stuff or using bleach bit on stuff, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember hurting any kids. I don't remember, you know, that's what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that's what she's going to do. So we'll see. But yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Yeah, Bill Clinton's in danger by her. But guess what? He's been in danger for a long time, and I guarantee that she's beat the crap out of him multiple times while he's in bed. She probably picked up books, who knows what, and just beat his head. Because I've seen him with black eyes before, and you know, cuts and scrapes, and I'm pretty sure it was from her. What was it? Macron on a plane with his wife, and we saw them having a spat, and she was beating the crap out of him too. So I don't know. I just don't understand this stuff, but it's sad that we are even here and we're here because every other administration just kicked the can down the road. You know, just like a lot of these Catholic churches, they'd find out they had a pedophile priest or whatever. They just sent him to another church to molest more kids instead of just getting rid of the guy, putting him in an insane asylum or something. And then give money to the families to try to help the boys get some treatment or something. They do the right thing. It's what God would have wanted them to do, but instead they do what the devil wanted them to do, which is to pretend it didn't happen and kick them down the road so he can have some more children. You know, it's just disgusting. All of this is disgusting. See, I don't defend churches that do it. I don't defend people that do it. I don't care if they're a king, a queen, a president. I don't give a shit. Anyone that does that kind of shit to kids, to young people that aren't old enough to make the decision that I want to be with you, whatever, is a disgusting pig, and they deserve to be punished for it. And that's what I want to see, period. I don't have sympathy for any of those people. And they knew exactly what they were doing. You know, all of them knew. They knew what they were doing, and it didn't matter because they were getting something because of their disgusting needs. You know, and I want to see them punished for it. So hopefully they will be punished. Okay, let's see. let me get rid of that one. That was an old one. And oh, this was some good news. So this is another thing I'm going to see. We stop this one. And this other one is some decent, that was good news too. Everything that's coming out, pointing the finger at these people, the right people for the kids. That's good for the future of our country because we're going to get rid of some of these people. They're being outed. So they're not going to be able to just go out unless they have to go to a back alley with other criminals to be able to get things that they want. And if the criminals are smart, they'll say, hell, buddy, I ain't getting near you with a 10-foot pole if they're smart, but who knows? Money usually gets people whatever they want, but that's why we got to take their money from them. That's one of the things that I would do is I'd put them in jail, then I'd also take their money. Say, sorry, buddy, we're paying for all the shit that we're going to give it all to your victims. But this is pretty interesting right here. The CDC is being sued for illegal and unconstitutional 72-dose hyper-vaccination schedule. So thank goodness, hopefully they'll win, because I've seen a couple judgments so far for different things, depending on, the different medical things about vaccinations, being able to get compensation to the people that were vaccinated because they were done against their will, or they were forced into it, or they gave them the wrong dose and it hurt them really bad, things like that. So hopefully they sue these people and they'll take all these kids off of this shit. Because if you're a parent and you don't want your kid to be vaccinated with any of this stuff, it should be your right. It's your kid, unless it's, like they've got some disease and they have to have some kind of medicine like diabetes or something like that, different things like that. It's totally different. But to give them this many shots, because I know some people who've got kids that had, I'm trying to remember, they called them infantile spasms or something like that. And they said that it was within hours or days after they got their vaccinations, and they had this, and that they did have medicine to help these kids get back to where they didn't have the spasms anymore, to help their brain. I don't know I just don't know a lot about it. I don't want to say the wrong things, but you can look it up about infantile spasms, and it's what it does, because it slowly cuts oxygen off to the brain of the child, and they end up dying from it by the age of 4, 6 years old. They're dead from the spasms killing their brain, basically depriving them of oxygen to their brain. And there's medicine for it, but it's very, 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 very expensive. It's like $40-something thousand for a month's supply or something like that. And most people can't afford it. So their kids end up dying. And I think it's disgusting that a company that made billions of dollars off of our tax dollars buying all these vaccines for all these people to make sure everyone got vaccinated. I didn't get it. I didn't take it, but I paid for it. A lot of people get a vaccine, but all those companies that made billions of dollars off of this stuff, and they make money off of using progeria kids so they can make old people medicines and stuff like that. They make billions of dollars, but yet they can't make sure that these kids with infantile spasms and stuff can get the right medicine to help them, because it's proven to help kids get past the spasms and live and and protect their brains. But yeah, they won't give it to kids that are poor because they don't have the money. But if you go to another country, you can get it way cheaper. But America, that's why I was so happy that Trump was doing this whole thing with the medicines and getting the pharmaceutical companies to lower the prices on all this stuff, because it's ridiculous. I haven't had a new EpiPen in 2 years. I'm still carrying the old one. You know why? Because the last time I tried to get a new one was at $390, my part of it. That's with insurance. So for something that could save my life, because I could go in somewhere and get something and die from it within minutes. And but I can't. I'm not paying $390 for an EpiPen. It's just outrageous. I think it's ridiculous that they're allowed to get away with this shit for life-saving medicine. And I think it's terrible that these companies do that to anyone. And to see an infant being jabbed up like that, and then they end up having autism or other kind of stuff like infantile spasms and other things. I know it's all connected, but for any drug to go on the market, it's supposed to be tested with real tests. And we need to revamp this whole thing. And we had the right person in there with Kennedy in there to get this fixed. So, but this suit right here, if this wins, could be a major blow to these companies that make this shit. And from now on, they have to follow the rules if they want a drug put on the market. They have to test it properly and have the right documentation to prove they tested it. And have certain people in the government that stay along with it to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to, or they don't get it. That's how we win. That's how the people win. And our children stay safe because we don't let these people. Because I guarantee you, if you could go back and talk to all these people that made all these drugs right here, none of their kids got it. I'm pretty sure. I'd be almost positive that everyone that knew what was in this shit and how that it was tested didn't give it to their family because they don't want their child hurt, but they don't care if they make a few bucks off of your kid. It's disgusting. All these people are disgusting. There's so many bad people in the world. They're so greedy and they could care less about anyone but themselves. They're narcissistic pigs. Sorry. I really feel that way. But here we go. I'm going to listen to this.
Being sued for operating an illegal and unconstitutional 72-dose hyper-vaccination schedule. All 72 of these doses from birth to age 18, not one has been tested in combination. And particularly the cumulative safety of 72 doses was never studied. So it's literally just experimental at this point. Nobody knows what's going to happen with all of these doses. And that's exactly why they're being sued, to kind of dismantle this dangerous program. And so this is huge. This whole vaccine ideology is now crumbling down as people begin to understand the real risks and just how absurd it is. And even Trump highlighted that. He said it's a travesty. We're injecting beautiful babies with all these toxic loads of needles. It's stupid and it's got to stop. You're being sued.
Yeah, 100%.
For operating an illegal.
It's got to stop because we got to save our kids. They're kids. They need adults to make sure they're safe. They need to make sure they're warm, that they eat, that they stay warm and dry, fed. They don't eat poison or, get bit by a snake out in the yard. All these things are up to the parents to take care of them. And then when you trust your doctor to take your kid to them, that they're going to give them and do what's right. But I can tell you right now, I have allergies, and I've been doing, shot therapy for my allergies. And when all this stuff happened with the COVID, my allergy doctor said, I don't recommend that you get the allergy shot. And I'm like, or the COVID vaccine. I said, why? And he goes, well, I don't really know what's in it. And he showed me this pullout, and he said, there's nothing on here. And he said, if I inject all my patients, I might not have any patients tomorrow. And he goes, it's not worth the risk. And then also he told me it was later, about a month later, that to be careful about who I spend my time with, because I might be around someone who's shedding. And he said that he had new information. It was coming out about the shedding and how certain people get sick, nauseated, and all this kind of stuff by being with people that had just been vaccinated, stuff like that. So I had a good doctor that actually cared about his patients and whether they're sick or what's working for them, things like that. So I'm sticking with this doctor because I care. I think he cares about his patients. And that's what all doctors are supposed to do. So if your doctor gave you a shot and had no idea what was even in it, then he's not a good doctor, or she, whoever it is. So make sure you ask questions of your doctors And if they don't act like they give a shit, then you probably should be looking for someone else. So that's how I look at it. When I have a doctor and they look me in the eye and they talk to me and they ask me questions, guess what? I usually have a pretty good results afterward, because I feel like they actually gave a shit about me. So yeah, I'm allergic to ibuprofen. So if I ever get arthritis or anything like that, I can't take ibuprofen. So I gotta, use other means, like wrapping it with hot and cold compresses, stuff like that. So yeah, if I get stung by a bee, I could die. I mean, I got stung when I was a kid, and my hand got so big that my skin started splitting, and then my arm swelled up until I couldn't bend my arm. That I was very lucky. I was very lucky that I didn't die then. But yeah, icy hot, that would work too. But it only does so much. But the sad fact is the damage that hurts your body is the swelling. When you have your joints that are so swollen all the time, it just they start getting deformed because of the swelling. And when you take ibuprofen and other things that help reduce the swelling, it helps stop the damage to your joints, right? Well, I can't take that. I'm allergic to it. And I'm allergic to quite a few things. So I can't eat gluten. I do all these things and I pretty much starve. I have a very boring, bland amount of stuff I eat, but I work out. I drink lots of water. I drink lemonade. I don't drink any soda pop, not because I just stopped drinking, because it's something about the taste of it I didn't like. So, it's just weird that I lived in Louisiana, didn't have any problems. But as soon as I moved to Arkansas, man, the allergies just got terrible. It's horrible, horrible allergies. It really sucks. I really feel for people who have allergies, because I understand, or back problems and things like that, because other people can't see it. They don't understand what you're going through. No, I didn't know that at all. That's kind of gross thinking about it. But I went on a trip. I got to go on my first cruise I ever went on 2 years ago. And I remember I was with all the people it was a group of us, and we went, and the waiter, comes and asks stuff what you want. And I said, well, they bring this giant tray out and it has croissants and all these beautiful buns and rolls and stuff on it. And I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh, there was so much good stuff we wanted to eat. And I asked him, I said, well, which one of these are gluten-free? And he went, none of them. So I was like, oh, do you have any gluten-free bread? And he said, yeah, I'll get you some. And so after he's done with everyone else, he brings me this little tiny slice of toast. And that's all I got. The whole trip, I got the same little tiny piece of toast with my food. That was it, because they had no other bread on the whole ship, that was gluten-free. So I was like, that sucks. So it does suck in a lot of ways, because it just, everything is gluten in it. I had to throw away all my, I got a beautiful gift of, what do you call those things? Licorice, red licorice and stuff, all different kinds, from this licorice place. Oh, it was so good too. It was so delicious. And then I started reading all the ingredients, and I was like, gluten is in licorice, but it wasn't in the licorice. It was in the coating that they put on it. So I didn't get to eat any of it. I had to give it to my daughter, and she got to eat all of it. Sucks. It really sucks, because there's so few good foods. Now I have got me a bread making machine, and I can buy the stuff I need to make the bread without gluten in it, right? But the difference is, have any of you made your own bread and try to slice it? Okay, you slice it. It's not the same. The way it forms isn't the same. It's very airy. So it's really hard to make just a regular sandwich. I just want a sandwich that I can make, a grilled cheese sandwich, or I can make a chicken salad sandwich or whatever. The bread isn't the same. Sorry, something in the back of my throat, but it's just really hard, and it's hard to adjust. And then you see other people getting to eat such yummy, yummy good stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do if they say I can't have milk anymore, or I can't have steak, because I love bacon, I love pork chops, I love meat, and I'm praying, trying to not hopefully never get to be where I can't have any of that, because I'll be starving to death. So I won't be able to eat anything. But you're just shocking when you realize how much stuff has gluten in it. I mean, it's just, and I don't have, what is that called? Celiacs. I don't have that. So that's why it was so hard to find out why I kept having all this itchy rashes and swelling. And it was because they finally did a actual gluten test on me and found out it was gluten finally. But they never wanted to, because I never had the stomach issues and stuff like other people. Mine's all rashes. I get huge rashes on the back of my neck and on my arms, different places. And we didn't know what it was from. I always thought it was contact dermatitis or something. So I'd buy different lotions and different laundry soaps. And it was just a fucking pain in the ass. So I really feel for people, because sometimes you don't even know what it is. I remember I got had another ear infection. So she gave me this antibiotic and I took it. And within an hour, I remember someone said, you look sunburned or something. I go, what? And they said, you look sunburned. So I went and looked in the mirror, and I wasn't really beet red, but it was like my skin was becoming translucent, and you could see every blood vessel in my face and on my skin. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what this is. And I said, but I just took a brand new medicine. So I went to my doctor, and she just gave me a bunch of Benadryl, and I had to sit in the office for an hour to see if I had another reaction. But it finally started going away. She said, don't take that again. And she put it in my chart. There's so many things I can't take, because I'm just sensitive to so many things. Could have been something in that antibiotic, something they use to mix it together, or even the coating on it. That's what sucks about it, But what really scares me is that when I mow my yard, I have an EpiPen. I put it in my shirt, and if I get stung by a bee, I can just stab myself in the leg because I won't make it to the house, because I have 4.5 acres of land, and I don't want to be found dead out in my yard because I got stung by a bee, and I'll be all swelled up and didn't have my EpiPen on me. So, you just have to get used to some of that stuff. It's really weird. Yeah. Let me see, what was this? Yeah, it would have been really good, but it scared me more than anything. I didn't feel weird. I just looked weird. It was really weird. But she said she thinks that when I saw what I looked like, that my adrenaline kicked in and helped a little bit, because basically that's what you're getting when you get your EpiPen. It's basically adrenaline to boost your body or whatever. But so she just gave me Benadryl, and it made me really sleepy, and that's the only thing. I just sleep. What fun is that? If you take Benadryl every day and you just sleep. I can take a Benadryl, I go to sleep. I have a friend that can take 4, and she still doesn't get sleepy anymore because she's taken so many Benadryls through her life. So I try not to take anything if I can help it, because to me, over time, you build a tolerance up to stuff. And even when I take medicine, like I take, I'll take Allegra for a little bit, and then I'll swap and take Claritin, and then I'll take, I don't know what it's called, starts with the Z. I'll take different ones. I try to move them around and try different things so that I'm not constantly taking the same thing over and over again. Yeah, I got stung. I sat on a yellow jacket, and it swelled and it burned. I mean, it was like on fire. But guess what? It hardly swelled at all. So it's just bees. So far, I've been stung by horse flies and all kinds of other bugs, but I've only swelled up the one time, but I haven't been stung since. And every time now when I see one, I just sit real still and try not to move, and they eventually fly off, because I know bees aren't just going to attack me unless I'm trying to dig in their beehive or something. So I just I've been lucky. I haven't had one I have to make sure my shoes are emptied, and my clothes are shook out before I put them on. Things like that. You learn over time. Like when I go to the grocery store, I just take wipes and I wipe my handles and stuff off, because if someone else had something, lotion of some sort or whatever on it that has something in it, I could have an allergic reaction to it. So I'm just, I try to be real careful about it, but I still live, I still go outside. I have chickens. I clean my chicken coop. I feed my chickens. I mow my yard, I still do stuff, but, sometimes I get like this, like I am right now, where I just have a lot of drainage in the back of my throat, and it get watery eyes, and I start sneezing and all that stuff. And I am allergic to cats, which really sucks, because I had cats when I was a kid. I love cats, but I have to wash my hands really, really good, and I can't rub my face on them anymore like I used to when I was young. And I can't wear certain kinds of anything with rabbit hair or anything like that. I can't wear any of that. I know it sucks. And I don't know. I haven't really found anything else that I'm allergic to besides almost every cedar and pine tree, ragweed, all that kind of stuff in my state. And there's lots of that in Arkansas. So, but yeah, that was the last story that I was going to bring up, was this one about the vaccines. So I'm hoping that they end up getting rid of it and sue these people, and they don't get to do it anymore. Dang, sorry. I'm really having a hard time. But it is kind of late. It's after midnight? Jesus. Can't believe how long I've been on here. Time flies when you're really talking about stuff and getting real intense. But yeah, I like cats. Plus, I have lots of snakes. I have lots of copperheads. I have rattlesnakes, different kinds of rattlesnakes in my state that I'm in. And only a few times have I found a cottonmouth, because I do have 2 little creeks on my property. So, but they like eggs and baby chicks. So, all snakes will eat your chickens if they can. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out with me tonight for a little while. And hopefully I had some information that you hadn't heard of and I didn't bore you too much. But, the thing is, we just have to be patient and let the stuff come out and read about it, and try to stay informed as best we can, so that when things start happening, we understand what's happening. And we understand why they're being prosecuted. Because I can tell you right now, most of it isn't going to be because of the Epstein stuff. It might be Epstein, but it's not going to be because of the girls. It's going to be, and that's what's sad, because that should be the number one priority. But it seems like the only way to actually start snagging people is because of they money laundering or racketeering and stuff like that, because to them that's more important than whether kids are assaulted or not, for some reason, which is disgusting. Which our children should be number one in anything, but they're not. But hopefully we'll start seeing some good stuff happening before the end of this year, for sure. I hope. That's what I'm hanging on. But so far, little is better than nothing. And that's what's happening. We're starting to see it coming out. But the thing is, we got some really good people digging into those files and finding out who's in there and what they're in there for. And I showed you a little bit of all the different people that I follow to get information about it. And, hopefully we'll get lots of people to start standing up and saying, yeah, we want to see trials. So we'll see what happens. But thank you very much for hanging out. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.